is Darlington.
The lady in black, too tough to tame. She's going to be fast, fast, fast.
Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys.
That's called the Darlington Stripe. This right here is classic Darlington. Kyle Busch wins.
Old school racing at its roots. This place has as many nicknames as challenges. Fox Sports welcomes you to Darlington, South Carolina, NASCAR's oldest super speedway. Jeff Gordon, 7 wins here. Sitting on the outside pole tonight, Kyle Busch, 3 wins this season, the most of any driver. And Dale Earnhardt Jr., 4 straight Darlington top 10 finishes. Man, could he use one tonight. A hot, steamy day. Drivers will welcome the night. 500 miles, and for some, it'll seem a heck of a lot longer.
Please welcome Darlington Raceway Chaplain Harold King as he offers tonight's invocation.
Our Heavenly Father, we ask your blessings tonight upon this NASCAR gathering of precious spectators and fans that have supported the Darlington Raceway for over 60 years. And tonight we ask a special blessing upon these mothers that shall call for the command, and ask you, as they represent all the mothers of NASCAR and mothers of America. Father, tonight we ask a special blessing upon these great athletes as they drive these mighty machines to successful victory lane. So, Father, now we ask you to be with the President of the United States and all who govern us and the armed services throughout the world. In the name of Jesus we pray. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mercury Nashville recording artist Billy Currington as he performs our national anthem.
Whoa, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Let's hear it for Billy Currington and tonight's flyby.
And if you're watching the broadcast on Speed, want to continue watching the Cup race here from Darlington, switch over to your local Fox affiliate on Speed. Lucas Oil on the Edge, that program continuing. We thank Speed for helping us out. Some of the Major League Baseball running long today. And remember, Speed will have the All-Star race Saturday night. But racing from Darlington, live action when we continue in a moment. NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Claritin Allergy Products. Live Claritin Clear. By Lowe's, for all your home improvement needs. Lowe's, let's build something together. And by Sprint, NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile. It'll change the way you experience the race.
This place always been treacherous. That's called the Darlington Stripe. One little slip here, you're into the wall.
Darlington showed again tonight that it's one of the hardest places, always has been, always will be.
I thought those walls were white when the race started.
The old lady in black, she's out there snickering right now.
This is the 60th year of racing at Darlington. The walls have been painted red and white as a tribute to the great tradition of this track. And you see how long it took. 50 hours, over 300 gallons of paint, and all that could change. And just one lap with Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers. We're glad you're watching with us. Matt Kenseth on the pole. He won 2 races early, has been quiet. Jeff Gordon, who's won here 7 times, starting on the outside pole. But, Jeff, your Verizon checklist of things to watch for tonight.
Well, the thing is right now, it's got to go back to the track itself. You look at this racetrack we refer to the lady in black or track too tough thing, you better say yes, ma'am, to her. Otherwise, she's going to say no, ma'am, to you. And if you're able to finish this race, you definitely want to say, thank you, ma'am, for letting me put this car back on the truck in one piece.
All right, and of course, on the eve of Mother's Day, that's certainly understandable. We also want to congratulate our NASCAR Know-It-All contest, and you weren't eligible because we know Alan, I think it was Alan
Oh, that hurts coming from you.
Yes, Alan Fuhring. Congratulations. Go to foxsports.com if you want to play and challenge Jeff Hammond. As we get a look at the drivers getting ready to go 500 miles, this track just over 1.33 miles. Those famous words from Mom down there, and it's not boys clean your room.
From all of us at GoDaddy.com, we would like to wish you a happy Mother's Day. And now, for those famous 4 words in motorsports, please welcome the mothers of today's NASCAR drivers.
There is no such thing as a non-working mother, so to all the moms out there, enjoy your day. But for tonight, sit back, relax. You have a front row seat. Everybody should enjoy NASCAR on Fox.
For 60 years, race fans have filed into this auto racing's field of dreams. The dream of Harold Brazington after going to Indy in '33 was to build a super speedway in his peanut patch. After World War II, he did just that, and the first Southern 500 was run here in 1950. Brazington expected 10,000 people, 25,000 showed up. Cale Yarborough snuck in his first try to get here, went over the fence in that picture. He's been in it, over it, and under it. That's an in-car shot from Neil Bonnet. And today, Junior Johnson is here, Ned Jarrett, Buddy Baker, David Pearson, Bobby Allison, and they've all left their paint on that wall and gotten their own Darlington stripe, as has nearly every driver who has toured this 1 3/8 mile speedway that is unique in all of NASCAR. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Darlington. It's like a Hall of Fame game every time we come to this place, and you just can't help but get emotional. And it's Mother's Day weekend to boot, and they brought back the old name of the race from Labor Day, the Southern 500. And gosh, we're going to have a big time tonight. But Darrell, you've tamed this place. How tough is it to tame, and why?
Well, I tell you how tough it is. I think Jeff Gordon is probably one of the coolest, calmest drivers we got in this sport today. In his qualifying effort yesterday, he only ran 1 qualifying lap. He said he normally doesn't get excited. He normally doesn't get scared, I guess you'd almost say. But his heart was pounding out of his chest and his hands were shaking after just 1 lap. He brought it to pit road because he didn't want that badge of honor on his right side. He wanted to bring it back in one piece.
Larry, we've got 2 different ends to this racetrack, 2 different races, a day race and a night race tonight rolled into one. But what's a crew chief's biggest job here?
Well, one of the biggest things that we're challenged with is the reason Jeff Gordon was shaking. This racetrack was designed to run about 100 miles an hour. We're running over 170 miles per hour. And if you look back at just practicing qualifying, 25 cars hit the wall, and we hadn't even started the race. So the biggest challenge from a crew chief's perspective is these cars are going to be sliding around. You have to be a good salesman to convince your driver, I know you're sliding around, I know it's not driving good, but you're better than the competitors. The biggest salesman on pit road tonight, Chad Knaus, because that 48 car was one of those 25 cars that hit the wall, will be starting the race at the rear of the field.
Ready to go racing in Darlington County, South Carolina. The 106th NASCAR race in what's now the Sprint Cup Series. Here is how they'll line up. Matt Kenseth on the pole. Been a long time since he's done that. Jeff Gordon alongside. Ryan Newman. Sam Hornish, his best qualifying effort ever. Rookie Joey Logano out-qualified his teammates. And as you have a look back through the field, Darrell's going to dial up somebody.
Matt Kenseth, it's DW. Got a copy, buddy?
Gotcha, Darrell.
Matt, we know you have a fast car for 1 lap, a new track record last night, but what do you got for a race setup, buddy?
Oh, find out here in a little bit. I was pretty happy with it yesterday. You know that I have to have a fast oil fusion for me to qualify that good. So Drew and Chip and the guys done a great job this week. Really prepared a fast car. So Hopefully it'll be fast for 500 miles.
Well, you won last night. Does that help you any tonight, Matt? Does it do anything for you?
Well, it doesn't hurt. You know, there's no information anymore that we can swap car to car. The cars are so different, but so we only get to come here one time a year, and with a new surface, it was nice to, you know, run a couple hundred miles, look around, try to find some different grooves, try to find, you know, where the grip was and where it wasn't. So I think it probably helped a little bit.
Well, you're driving my favorite car number, and you're starting in my favorite spot. Good luck tonight, buddy.
Oh, thanks, Terrell. Try to keep the 17 running good for you.
Make it a great race day with the perfect balance of flavor and refreshment. Budweiser, the great American lager.
Let's take a look at our FedEx Understanding the Race. This is the trends or the patterns of the last 8 spring races here at Darlington on NASCAR on Fox. First caution, roughly average about lap 22. 4 times, though, in those 8 races, we've had one in the first 10 laps of the race. The longest green flag run, average about 93 laps. A fuel run here is about 60 to 64, so we should have some green flag pit stops. The last caution, lap 317. Now, this is in the last 4 spring races because before that, it was a 400-mile race. Now it's a 500-mile race. And this is interesting. Cars running at the finish, average 36 cars. Go back to last year, 2008. 41 cars were still running at the end. The only 2 cars that were out were 2 with engine failure.
Driving the pace car tonight, 5-time Southern 500 winner Cale Yarborough. I asked him this afternoon, what made you so good at your home racetrack?
I had rather win here than anywhere else in the world, but I hated running here worse than anywhere else in the world. But I loved it. I loved to win here. I was for my, you know, hometown people, and I wouldn't take winning the 1968 Southern 500 for about all the other races put together. That was the last race we ran on the old racetrack before they redesigned it and redid it. I wouldn't take anything in. I told Jeff Gordon, I said, boy, we've tied for 5 Southern 500s, but you never won one on that old racetrack, so you got a ways to go yet.
Darrell, she's mean and she's fast and she's too tough to tame. Reach up there and pull those belts tight one more time.
Oh, I don't think we have to worry about that tonight, Larry, because these boys are going to go boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys.
Kenseth breaks away, and he'll have a comfortable lead off turn 4 and lead lap 1 over Jeff Gordon, Sam Hornish, and Joey Logano.
Mike, right now is the most treacherous part of this race because the track's dirty. These cars are all bunched up. Somebody gets in the gas or out of the gas, you run in the back of them, chain reaction.
Larry, I thought that rookie might back up, but he's in 4th spot and closing on 3rd.
Well, I think the biggest thing that helped him was 200 miles of racing last night in that Nationwide Series and had a good run.
I think the biggest thing that's helping him is they got that car where that driver is happy in the car. Just got in trouble there, Larry. He lost the back end getting into 1. He didn't hit the wall, but he pretty close.
Ryan Newman moves up to 4th.
And I think Jeff Burton to 31 will move to the inside. You've got to have give and take here getting in the corner. I believe Jeff Burton to 31, he was the one that did the giving right there on the entrance of turn 3.
That's why people love to race around Jeff Burton. They know that he will not put you in a bad spot. There it is.
That is the 87 Scott Speed with rookie Max Pappas in the 13.
I just told Barry and Artie, I said, watch that turn 1. That looks like trouble.
Now, Joe Nemechek qualified the 87. He's the driver owner of that car. Speed missed the race, but the Red Bull team made a deal with Joe Nemechek for Speed to start that car, and he gets up and into Mad Max.
I had been watching Max Pappas in the 13 car. Started 22nd, first race here. He was backing up in a hurry.
Now, here's a guy that's going to have to do this for a while until he gets his way near the front. Boy, look at that. The 48 car. Fortunately, the apron's pretty wide here. You got a lot of room for escape.
Pappas continues. Remember, Jimmy Johnson crashed in qualifying. That's why he had to start at the back of the field in a backup car.
Mike, you look back at our FedEx Understanding the Race. On the average, the last 8 races, the first caution comes on lap 22. But 4 times in those 8 races, we hadn't won in the first 10 laps. It didn't let us down tonight.
All right, here's your hint for tonight's Aflac trivia question. It happened here. What was the largest field ever to start a race in what is now NASCAR's Sprint Cup Series?
We can't answer until we see the duck again.
It happened here. Want another clue? 58 cars failed to finish. 58 DNFs. Imagine how big the field was.
And we've got a lot of the guys that were at the back of the field, including Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car, making pit stops. Remember, this is the first laps this car has made because he crashed in qualifying, and there was no practice after qualifying, Steve.
Larry, they made a quick chassis adjustment. Chad Canal said, don't expect me to do any radical strategy until we get this car handling well. Quick chassis adjustment for Jimmy Johnson.
And I will guarantee you, if they get enough caution flags in early going, they will get that car exactly what they're looking for.
Oh, yeah.
They always do.
And Larry, if you're going to work on your car, it's got to be in this early going because, like I said, these cars all bunched up the way they are. We're going to have a few little bump and runs here.
How do you learn a place as treacherous as Darlington when you come here for the first time? Well, today in the Home Depot Rookie File, Joey Logano 2 weeks ago got the ride of his life here at Darlington.
All right, my turn.
If you don't try to drive it too deep in these corners and get back in the throttle, no matter how much throttle, just get back, just have some throttle on that thing as quick as you can. It just gives you more control of the car. You can play with the throttle some, but the quicker you get back on the throttle at this place, it doesn't, all other racetracks aren't like this.
Right.
And it even works down here too.
Cale Yarborough with rookie Joey Logano.
Yeah, and you use the throttle to keep the car out of the wall. When it starts up the track, nail the throttle, not the brake.
Here's something new. This is in Michael Waltrip's Napa Toyota. You've been asking for foot cam, and so have we.
Thought it said high DW there for a minute, but
I know somewhere there's a logo on those shoes.
There's something on there.
Okay, it says mom on the right. Oh, love you. I love you. That's an I inside a heart. I love you, Mom.
Yeah, we love you, Mom. That's a cool deal. But it's just drivers brake with their left foot. A lot of people don't realize they use both feet to drive. Right to gas, left to brake.
You don't see the clutch pedal. It's even further to the left. We're ready for our Claret and Clear to Drive restart with Claret and Clear indoors and out.
Restarts can be just a little treacherous. Pick up a lot of sand and dirt on your tires. Got to watch when you don't spin them on a restart and get run over from behind.
Single file restart because all cars are on the lead lap. There are no lap down cars. So all in one line, snaking around Darlington Raceway.
With Jeff Burton in that 31 tried to time that restart and get inside of Logano in the 20 going into 1, but he's going to have to fall back in line down the back straightaway. Darrell, don't you think that's one of the things you do here at Darlington, especially in the early going, is don't push the envelope, wait for the guy in front of you to make the mistake and then go by him, especially if you're a little faster than he is.
Guarantee you this is the joint where I learned not to beat myself, and it's easy to do here.
Two drivers left a big gap on that restart. Car in the wall, Robbie Gordon turned 2, and he continues.
Got in it pretty good over there, the 7 car, Robbie Gordon.
Nope.
We stay green.
I don't think he's going to be able to get down for pit road. Nope, he's going to stay on the racetrack. Let the spotter have a look at the right side.
You know, you can rub this wall with the right side of the car, but you can't. If the car just turns and bounces off the wall, that does some damage. Good thing that some of these guys can get in on the apron here, because there's just not enough room to do that. That's the kind of classic get under a guy and force him up off the 2 over there. That's a old passing move that you have to use.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by McDonald's McCafe. I'm loving it. By Ask.com, where do NASCAR fans get answers? Ask.com, the official search engine of NASCAR. By Toyota, moving forward. And by Sprint, NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile. It'll change the way you experience the race.
Second caution of the day. While we were away under green, Carl Edwards bumped the wall while running 6th. And here's a single car spin off turn 4 by Michael Waltrip.
Yeah, you just see him coming off 4 there and all by himself. The car is bad loose. Boy, I mean, that's just...
Right outside, just hang on, buddy.
Good news, Darrell. He didn't hit anything.
Oh, he didn't.
Pit road is open. Steve Burns.
Sam Hornish will get 4 tires, Mike. They're also going to make a track bar adjustment. They're also going to adjust the right rear air pressure for Sam Hornish. Krista.
Kyle Busch is extremely calm on the radio, telling Steve Addington what his car is doing. He's saying it's just a tick free in, tight off. Steve Addington's call, a quarter turn down on the track bar and air.
The brand new race car extremely unhappy behind the wheel. He has lost 8 positions since the drop of the green flag with a car that's way too loose. Matt.
7-time Darlington winner Jeff Gordon's car was loose when he finally got out front. Meanwhile, the 17 at Kansas, his car was way tight. They were going to make a track bar adjustment to try to get the splitter off the racetrack.
Jimmy Johnson. Did Johnson stay out? He did. He has the lead. Coming to the restart after 24 laps complete. Jimmy Johnson did not pit. He stayed out on the racetrack. Everyone else behind him has fresh tires.
And you know what? I do believe I like this move. He did pit on lap 5, so he did get fuel on lap 5, didn't get tires. But I just think being back there in the back is a recipe for getting in trouble.
Oh, yeah, it is right now.
Brian Vickers just backed up the field midpoint of the backstretch. You see him there 5 wide trying to get around him.
Ryan Newman took just 2 right side tires in his 39 car. A lot of different strategies on pit road. He's looking for the lead. They also wanted to see how 2 right side tires work. Looks like right now early looks good.
Right now this is just a time when you don't need to be racing, but you can't help it. You're all wadded up here and you got to go. You get run over.
Newman becomes the 4th different leader of this race.
See Kevin Harvick there in the 29 car. What Gil Martin that group did, just did fuel only, no tires at all.
You know, I was watching Dale Jr. And he was moving up pretty good, but I just looked at the scoring monitor, Mike. He's back to 33rd.
He's
been to pit road, there. Right?
Here's what happened to Junior.
4 right here, bud, right here. Nice, so don't slide. Back it up.
Had to back up. That was costly.
This is race number 11.
Underneath the tire, 4 tires.
Back straight away.
Car in the wall, bounced off, keeps going.
It's a 47 car of Ambrose, and he got into the outside wall, but he saved it, didn't hit the inside wall.
He had a pretty good encounter with the wall yesterday.
No caution. Folks, we're going to get cited a lot tonight for people getting into the wall and not bringing out a caution. Here's what happened to Marcus Ambrose. Just coming into view now, the white and blue car.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a hard lick. Plus, I saw sparks coming out from under the car, so maybe they had the air pressures really, really low in that car.
Mike, with smoke in the right rear.
But that was a hard lick.
It was. The car is definitely out of line now.
And it was a heck of a save because a lot of cars would have come off that wall and spun into the inside wall. Nice save.
Got the brothers there, Kurt Busch in the 2, Kyle Busch in the 18. This is a battle for 10th. Michael Waltrip in the 55, 1 lap down.
Now, remember what Kyle said about Kurt last week? That, you know, they didn't always have the same philosophy on the racetrack. Like he seemed like his brother always thought he was putting him in a bad spot.
Well, Kyle felt that his brother wouldn't work with him at all at Talladega.
He did.
We saw the Dale Earnhardt Jr. miscue on pit road. Steve?
Mike, the other element to that is they were going to put on 2 tires to get track position, but once they overshot the pit, they backed them up. They made the decision to take on 4.
Now, they'd already given up all the position anyhow. Why not go ahead and take on 4? But what I was going to say before Ambrose got in the wall, and I don't want to just keep beating this horse to death. We've had 11 races. He's probably had problems on pit road at least half of those races, and normally multiple times in a race.
You know the one where he didn't have any trouble on pit road? Talladega. And where did he finish?
Right there in second, I think.
Second.
There
Turn 2.
It's Casey Mears in the 07, A.J. Allmendinger in the 44. We do have caution. A lot of damage to that 07 car.
I believe also Denny Hamlin in the 11 was involved. And that'll put us under caution for the 3rd time today. That's Denny Hamlin. Farm Bureau car. Let's see how this develops.
Well, there's just too many cars for the amount of track we have to race on. And the 07's down on the apron. He comes up and gets into the side of Brian Vickers in the 83. Oh, hard lick for the 07. Here comes Hamlin. He saves it.
Boy, how did Strimmy get through there in the 12? I don't know, but he did.
Starship.
Tell you what, Vickers did a good job of saving that 83 car.
Yeah, he did. 31 gets through there. Jeff Burton, untouched.
Boy, David Strimmy in that 12 just squeaked by too.
Let's ride with David Reagan through this one. Another nice save. We're under caution in Darlington. Going to be a bright full sun all day in Darlington and a full moon tonight. It's full moon Saturday night at the track. Matt, how is Carl Edwards' car?
Well, Mike, they have worked on it about 4 separate pit stops. After the last stop, Carl said the car feels good. We are good to go. He says, I'm sorry, I made the mistake. Got a little loose when he went over the apron, hooked it, and then he caught the fence. He said, basically, I'll try to get it back. Bob Osborne said, nope, we got a long night. Don't overdrive it. You know this place.
Michael Waltrip gets the free pass, and we're ready to go back under green. Ryan Newman leads him down.
What we got to do is get these cars unwadded. Somebody needs to tell them it's like Talladega. Maybe you want to fall back a little bit and stay out of the pack. Because you just can't pack race here. If you pack race here, you're going to crash.
Kevin Harvick had a look at Joey Logano, but could not make the pass into turn 1.
He tried to time that restart just right, just like his teammate Jeff Burton did earlier on Logano, but Logano beat him down into turn 1, held the position.
Newman, Johnson, Kane, and Biffle, the front 4.
What Chad Knaus, Jimmy Johnson's crew chief, would love to see here, I think, is about a 20 to 25 lap run. Have a caution, then he knows everybody will come to pit road. Mission accomplished from the back of the field to the top 5 in less than 50 laps.
Let's see, that's just such great strategy. You know what all those front guys are going to do in the first time a caution comes out. If you're good enough to stay out at that point, hold a little position, you're good to go, baby.
Greg Biffle running in 4th place in one of those Roush Fenway Fords. Krista?
Mike, no question, Greg Biffle is good at this racetrack. 2 wins, almost 3 last year. They dominated the race before engine failure. How did they get up front after starting 11th? They took just right side tires on that last stop. No adjustments. The only thing Greg has said is right now they are killing him in 3 and 4.
And Mike, you talked about it at the top of the show, how different the ends of this racetrack is. You're trying to reach that compromise all night long. You'll get it good in one end. It'll be too loose or too tight in the other end.
Well, it's shaped like an egg, you know. One end's tight, one end's kind of sweeping, and it's just hard to get even in a car as a driver. Hard to really get a good rhythm going here because the turns are so different.
Jeff Gordon in that 24 car just a lap ago drove by Matt Kenseth in the 17. That puts Jeff Gordon back in the top 5 and 5th.
And that time differential you saw was to the leader. Sterling Marlin's car being pushed to the garage. He will join David Gilliland there. Both of those unsponsored cars, hoping to attract a sponsor and have a better day in Charlotte. Also in the garage, Casey Mears from the crash earlier.
Looks like the 17 car might be holding up Truex here. Talked to Matt there in the opening of the parade lap there, you know, and he said he felt like he had a good race set up, but he's falling back a little bit here.
You know, you're just riding with Mark Martin in that 5 car. Right now, he's back in the 8th position. Nobody knows better than Mark about racing this racetrack for about 400 to 450 miles.
Oh, he'll lurk around the top 10 all night long.
Martin Truex in the 1, chasing Matt Kenseth. This is for 6th place, and it's within sight of the leaders.
But you see where Mark's riding, and this is from experience. Nobody's on his back bumper. You don't want anybody riding your back bumper here.
They'll just aggravate you when they're back there.
Well, they'll force you in a mistake.
Steve?
Mike, Martin Truex Jr. started in the 16th position, up to 7th here early. His crew chief Kevin Mannion said today, this race is a mindset. No matter what happens, we're going to enjoy racing at Darlington.
Right now, he's looking pretty good. Started back in the 16th position, well up in the top 10.
And Larry, the other thing is we say it, and I don't think people at home quite appreciate or understand it. You cannot race the other cars. You have to focus totally on the racetrack. And that means you got to stay out of trouble and mind your manners and hit your marks. You can't have somebody worrying you to death, keeping you from doing that.
Darrell, it looks like you just can't go around here side by side and run a whole lap that if someone catches you and gets alongside, the smart thing to do, let them go.
Well, you time it. My favorite word for this place is anticipation. You have to anticipate where you're going to catch people. Then you got to be smart enough to know when to catch them so you can pass them. You can't pass people in the middle of the corners here. You got to time it, pass them down the straightaway.
Brian Newman just a couple of car lengths up on Casey Kane. Jimmy Johnson in 3rd, but Johnson's tires and fuel load have 17 more laps on them than the rest of the field. Jeff Gordon, Martin Truex, the top 5. Here's a timely question from Ask.com, official search engine of NASCAR. Get the answer now and enter the Ask.com NASCAR Challenge for a chance to win daily prizes and a trip to Talladega. Happy Mother's Day to Gay, Linda, Stevie, all our moms, mothers-in-law, and all the mothers out there tomorrow.
Margaret Jean Waltrip over there in Sherrills Ford is having a big time tonight with my sisters and everybody.
Tell you what, these guys have been having fun the last few laps. Jeff Gordon in that 24 and Martin Truex Jr. in the 1.
But you know, I've been watching. I keep waiting for the. Oh, these guys are working. It's like a dance. They're just dancing around the racetrack.
After you. No, after you.
They're practicing their crossover moves and.
Now, is this fun racing, Darrell?
It is.
Or you start getting a little ill at each other?
No, this is when I'll show you. No, I'll show you. Well, let me show you.
And Brian Vickers off the pace.
Yeah, we just had talked about him or getting a report. Maybe he has a flat tire.
And Larry, I think I know why. If you look at the left rear tire, I guarantee you something's gotten up against it. Most likely somebody's split or somewhere around here.
Now we're seeing Brian Vickers come to pit road. We're looking at Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car running 3rd right now in front of his teammate. We're getting pretty close to what will have to be a green flag pit stop for this 48 car. He's not been to pit road since lap 5.
But I'm watching Jimmy Johnson's lap times, and he's running the same lap times as Gordon and Truex. The only car that's really stinking up the show right now is the 9 car, and he's out there pretty good. Got to running pretty good lap times, he and Newman.
Matt?
And Jeff Gordon was saying at the beginning of this run that the car was just way too loose. Steve Letarte trying to keep track as the trend goes throughout the night of just how much this racetrack will change. Gordon says his biggest issue now, though, as he's got his hands full with the 1 and the 16, the Truex and Biffle, the car is just so tight in traffic, more of an aero-tight issue than a chassis tight.
And see, while Truex and Gordon were playing around, playing games, having fun, passing each other, here come Greg Biffle and said, y'all just keep on now. I'm just go by both of you.
Biffle in the 16.
So now he'll get into the dance with Jeff Gordon.
You know, I know y'all talked a lot about it in the pre-race about who to watch, and you talked about the Roush Fenway cars, Darrell. Definitely Greg Biffle. He's won 2 of the last 4 races here. Should have won the other 2. Blew up last year after sitting on the pole, and then the other year was bottoming the flywheel out so bad, had a mechanical failure.
Yeah, you know, it's Greg Biffle there for a while. If he hadn't had all those mechanical problems, he could have won 10 races. He was always having something break on the race car.
Earlier we talked about Sam Hornish and his great qualifying run. He started 4th but has drifted back in the field now to 16th and reports the car has gone tight on him. Steve?
Mike, he said on a scale of 1 to 5, it has gone 4, so it is real tight. And as we said earlier in the race, they're just trying to keep him calmed down until he get tires.
The former Indy 500 winner saw 2 of his Penske teammates earn front row spots for the 500 earlier today. Elio Castroneves will start from the pole.
Yes, he will. And what you got to be careful of with a guy like Sam, I mean, he's doing a great job driving these cars this year, but you got to be careful not to over adjust, that he doesn't give them too much information that they go the wrong way.
Now, Sam Hornish is one of those cars that came to pit road on lap 22, so they're probably a good 15 laps away from making what would be their green flag pit stop.
Ryan Newman, driving for the U.S. Army, came close to winning the pole, but not quite. He started 3rd, and Newman has now led 46 of the 70 laps so far. Dick?
And it is a resurgent Ryan Newman as well, Mike. After going more than a year without scoring a top 5 finish, Newman now has 2 in a row and currently leads this race. The team's plan is to pit on lap 88 as he loses the lead. The plan is to pit on lap 88 and loosen that car up. Newman has gotten tight on every single turn of this racetrack.
Casey Kane blasts past Newman and puts the Bud car up front and becomes the 5th different leader of tonight's race.
We talked about it earlier. There you see the crew chief, Kenny Francis. The weekend they had at Richmond last week. I mean, we absolutely watched Casey Kane just beating on the steering wheel, and 1 week later here at Darlington, away from the short track, they're leading the race.
Watching that 83 car, Larry, he came in, got tires, and man, that's worth 2 seconds a lap right now.
Wow.
And he is just blowing by he came to Greg Biffle, just shot by Greg. I think Greg probably thought something was wrong with his car.
And Biffle's the 6th place car. He's under fire for Mark Martin right now. That's for 6th. The 87 is laps down, was involved in that crash earlier. Scott Speed 1 lap down.
But Brian Vickers in the 83 definitely needs this thing to cycle through these green flag stops, because right now he's actually 2 laps down to leader Casey Kane.
Marcus Ambrose has taken his Toyota to the garage. A lot of right side damage from hitting the wall off turn 2. And we'll see if they can get that repaired.
Not so lucky this week. Last week backed it in the fence, and here comes a 48. Looks like he's down on the bottom there coming to pit road.
Has to make a green flag stop because he did not come in with the other leaders on lap 22, Steve.
Mike, Jimmy Johnson just telling Chad Canals, I am tight in the center, and I'm really tight when I get back on the gas. So they're going to adjust that 48 car of Jimmy Johnson to loosen him up. 4 tires for the 48 and a chassis adjustment.
Turn 3, car on fire, sliding up and into the wall. Michael Waltrip.
Come on, buddy. Get out of that thing. Get it wound up. Come on.
Detonated big time.
Yeah, that's an oil fire. Looks, it's a lot, Mom. It's okay.
Okay.
Michael is okay. But that car, a huge explosion under the hood as he went into turn 3. And hopefully all those flames were under the car and not in the cockpit.
Yeah, it's an oil fire. The engine blew up, and because of that, oil goes on the headers and everything, and it just flames up like that. It's not good, but it's not as bad as it looks.
That was a scare. Have a look at it.
See what happens here. Man, oh man, that thing just exploded
big time.
I mean, it looks like a fuel car at the drag races.
Darrell, you've got to wonder if that spin earlier, if that engine stopping, counter rotation, whatever, might have stressed components to where this happens down the road. Yes, no?
It very well could have, Mike. Certainly anytime you turn a car around and turn the engine backwards, or over rev the engine. But see how the flame is staying out of the cockpit? Yeah. It's not going up in the car with Michael. It's all behind. It's smoky in there and it's hard to see, but there's the only problem when you get sideways, like you see how it tries to suck the flame in the car with him. But I think he's okay. I think he's fine.
Whoa, guys. Major issues. detonated big time.
Cleanup just about complete.
Bring her
here
on
in Darlington, South Carolina.
A lot of stay dry over in that corner.
Woo. Jimmy Johnson on the tail end of the lead lap, as Larry talked about before the break. Casey Kane, the leader. And we should be coming to the green this time. Paul Menard got the free pass. He's back on the lead lap. One of 30 lead lap cars. Ready to go green with our Claret and Clear to Drive restart. Get Claret and Clear. Get back to feeling like yourself again. 85 laps complete this time.
Speaking of Claret and Clear, I'm a little bit worried about that third and fourth turn. Not maybe so much being slick, but the dust is really going to create a big cloud over there when these cars go in there. It's going to be hard to see.
Green flag.
See Brian Vickers in that 83 car. Remember, he had to make an unscheduled green flag stop because of a flat left rear. He's trying to get his lap back as well, right in front of leader Casey Kane. Casey Kane, the 9, is the leader.
Nice clean restart. This is pass him if you got him time.
It's not as bad over there as I thought. I thought it would be a big cloud of dust when they went through there, but they did a nice job of getting that cleaned up.
The 87 was qualified by Joe Nemechek. Scott Speed is in it. He's a lap down.
Got a little blocking going on there.
I know a lot of our focus has been on the 1 Stewart-Haas car there, the 39 of Ryan Newman, but Tony Stewart, his teammate and his owner, right behind him in that 14 car after starting 18th.
I don't know about that, but that 9 car in 83, and here, there's wrecks going on everywhere.
Yeah, A.J. Walmendinger, turn 2 for the second time tonight.
But right here, Brian Vickers has he's run poor Casey Kane all over the racetrack trying to keep him behind me. I think Casey finally said, okay, I get the picture.
Marcus Ambrose back in the race after repair to the right side. Boy, it's not been a good night for Michael Waltrip Racing. Stacking them up in turn 1. It's David Reagan running 17th.
And that's what you do here all night long. And turn over here and turn 4 as well. You just play with that throttle, trying to get it down, but it just can't do it. Can't get it wide open.
But you see David Reagan's teammate there, Carl Edwards, at 99. Nice recovery riding with him here down the back straightaway. They've been to pit road numerous times to fix the tow out on that race car. He's now back in the top 20 and 19th.
They were on pit road a pretty extended length of time this last caution, Larry, working on that tow.
Leader Casey Kane has now passed Jimmy Johnson. Johnson's 48 is now in the free pass position. First car 1 lap down. If he can maintain that position when the next caution comes out.
What he needs is Brian Vickers to stay out in front of the leader. That way Brian Vickers gets his lap back the hard way by being out in front of the leader should the caution come out.
And Vickers has done a good job of distancing himself from race leader Casey Kane. We may have a new leader in a second because here comes Martin Truex. He is fast closing on Casey Kane.
You know, we was talking about Kane and the engine in his car. It's the older Dodge engine. And I was talking to some of the guys that are working on the new Dodge engine, and they said, you know, the new engine is a lot of power, but a lot of it's upstairs. This older engine has a little bit more grunt, which would be good for a racetrack like this.
Well, Truex closed to within 4 car lengths of Kane in nothing flat. And then Casey Kane hit the button, and he's pulling Truex by just a little bit now.
You know, a guy that we watched on pit road earlier that was slid through his pits, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88 car. We got a report that they put a spring rubber in the right rear, so I'm pretty sure his car was too tight, was not turning. That'll really help the car to turn. He's now back up in the top 20 in 20th.
Now let's go to the garage where Krista has caught up with Michael Waltrip.
Yeah, Mike, and I know Daryl already sent the message to your mom that you're okay, but I'm sure she would love to see your face and make sure that you really are. How hot did it get in the car? Are you okay? And did it burn the I love you, Mom off your shoes?
I know. At first it was scary because it went up in flames pretty big, but as the car slid, I noticed it was getting less and less. So I had Napa Adaptive 1 brake pads. Just brought it right to a stop. No vibration, no noise, just stopped it, and I got right out, safe and sound. Today's race was a result of bad practice yesterday, Krista. We couldn't get our car right. Booty and the boys had to guess at the setup, and they didn't hit it. And it was really hard to drive. Got away from me once and then finally blew up. The two weren't related, though. I never stalled the motor, just spun out and took off, kept going. Couldn't have turned it over the wrong way. It kept running.
Okay, we're glad you're okay. But yeah, those shoes, that was, we know you're okay. Mom's glad you're okay. We saw the I love you, Mom. And the shoes are not on your feet, so we hope they're okay, too.
Macy would be proud. I don't have any holes in my socks.
Perfect for television. Thank you very much. Glad you're okay, Michael.
That is a very comprehensive report from my brother there. I think he covered every base.
Well, I like that he answered the question about was there reverse rotation on the first spin that maybe led to the explosion, and Michael says no.
Right. No, he's good. You ask him one question and you'll get all those answers out of one question.
You know, guys, we just watched Jamie McMurray in this 26 car. He just passed Ryan Newman into the 6th spot. I had been watching him during that long green flag run. He had a good race car on that long run. He started in 20th. You know, I know we've talked a lot about the bad luck that Mark Martin had at the beginning of the season. We talked about the bad luck that Ryan Newman had early in the season. This guy had a good race car a lot of those races, and he had bad luck as well.
Well, bad luck, full moon Saturday night. Kyle Busch last night ran over a piece of debris and lost the nationwide race that he had dominated, and he lost it with 2 laps to go because of a flat tire. He may have one now, is the report we're hearing.
I know he got in trouble off of turn 2 over there. Car got almost into the wall, and there was really no reason for it to do it. He's all by himself. So I think there is something going on with this race car.
And right now he's back in the 13th position. You see Sam Hornish Jr. in the 77 car and his brother Kurt Busch in the 2 car right behind him.
One thing you have to be real careful of here is with these hot, sticky tires, you get up out of the groove a little bit, you pick up a lot of rubber and debris, and it'll make you think you've got a flat tire, as we see Mark Martin continuing to just kind of roll along here.
That'll be 7th place as he passes Ryan Newman. And here comes Biffle right up to them in the 3M Ford.
Darryl, you mentioned it earlier. I get a feeling that some teams over-adjusted on these first couple of stops. One may be that 39 car of Ryan Newman, because he's lost a couple of spots, about to lose another one here just in the last few laps.
97 laps complete in Darlington, South Carolina. This is NASCAR on Fox. Welcome back to Darlington, where Casey Kane is still your leader by half a second over Martin Truex Jr. Kyle Busch did not have a flat tire. He got way up the racetrack, and as Darrell said, got a lot of debris on his tire. Thought he had a flat. He did not. But Jeff Gordon had a loose wheel and came to pit road to have that replaced. Gordon is now 1 lap down. Scott Riggs has gone to the garage area in his Tommy Baldwin Racing Toyota, and they are hoping to attract sponsorship to be able to run the whole race in 2 weeks at Lowe's Motor Speedway, the Cook 600. Matt?
Mike, Jeff Gordon had reported a vibration that had started out slight, but then progressively grew into a massive vibration. He made the call. They pitted. They found a loose wheel. He'd gone back out, ran about 2 laps, and said it is starting out just like it did the previous set. Slight vibration. I'll let you know as it gets worse and worse. Problem could be big time here on the 24th.
Not handling very good either, Matt. He just came off turn 2 over there, pretty much wobbling up off the corner.
Right now he is back in the 30th position, 1 lap down, right behind his teammate Jimmy Johnson in the 48. That's 1 lap down.
And what you have to worry about when you've had a loose wheel like that is it doesn't mess up the stud, so where you can't tighten the wheel all the way back up.
Now Brian Vickers in that 83 car still out in front of Casey Kane in the 9. Brian in the 83 really would love to see a caution flag right now.
He is pedaling hard, baby. I'm telling you, trying to keep that 9 behind him.
And let's mention right behind Casey Kane, that's Tony Raines in the 34 this week, because John Andretti is at Indianapolis trying to make the 500 in a car owned by Richard Petty. So Tony Raines tapped to drive the 34 at least this week.
Yeah, and looks like Truex wants to do a little fishing tonight, because he's trying to get a hook into that 9 car right now. He's right ahead of him.
Well, there's a minnow pond right outside turn 4. Don't go there.
Always like to fish and hunt.
Yeah, Tony Raines at 34 car. Those guys need to run all night, and they need a decent run, because that's the car that's 35th in owner points right now. Just remember, each week the top 35 going into the race in owner points, they're locked into the show.
And Robbie Gordon had a little trouble earlier. He's a couple laps down right there with Raines. They're both running 34th and 35th right now. That's the car he's trying to catch up with.
Yep, they're both 2 laps down. Marcus Ambrose 22 laps down. Max Pappas 32 laps back. And in the garage, Scott Riggs, Michael Waltrip, Dave Blaney, Sterling Marlin, Casey Mears, and David Gilliland.
This is Carl Edwards in the 99 car. Again, he's been to pit road many times after popping the wall. A lot of adjustments on this car. He is now in the 17th position, looking out his windshield. No longer looking out his windshield. He drives by Kurt Busch in the 2, moves to 16th.
Steve? Excuse me. Look at the wall. How it's red and white, those strobe stripes. That's another throwback touch that's new here at Darlington this year. Back when this was the Winston Cup Series, R.J. Reynolds invested in tanker trucks full of red and white paint, because those red and white walls, not only did they carry the sponsor's message, but those cars look a whole lot faster, especially at night.
350 gallons of paint to paint the walls here, and 50 man hours. That was the first time they did it. Of course, they've had to touch it up every night.
Tell you what, Martin Truex Jr. in that 1 car, he has caught leader Casey Kane in the 9. Had to back off just a little bit coming off the corner there. Just had to have a little bit of give and take coming on the front straightaway. You know, Martin Truex Jr., the one they sat on the pole for the Daytona 500. They have only had 1 top 10 finish this year. They finished 7th at Phoenix, and here they are up there trying to battle for the lead.
He has 1 win in this series, and it came at his home track, Dover, Delaware, in June of 2007. That's coming up on 2 years without a trip to victory lane. Steve?
And Mike, Martin Truex Jr. kind of struggling right now. He wants to lead, but like Darrell said earlier, he also wants to take care of his equipment and race this racetrack. Spotter Joey Meyer telling him, race your race.
It's the best advice that they can give him, that's for sure. Long way to go still.
Well, and
let's listen to Casey Kane through the corner here, see if he feathers that throttle like we heard Edwards doing.
Oh, yeah.
Mad at it there.
Well, not really.
Okay.
He never got it quite wide open, but listen to what remember what Cale told Joey Logano in the opening?
Get to the throttle,
as fast as you can. Not wide open. You don't have to get it wide open. You just got to get back to it to plant the car into the banking.
He got it pretty sideways off the corner there.
And he had to jump out of it. He's going to lose the lead because of that. Let's see who gets trapped behind Regan Smith in the 78. I believe the 1 car is going to prevail here.
Nice timing by Truex to make that move where he could use the lapped car as a pick.
It's that anticipation thing where you kind of see what's going on ahead of you, and you got to run up on these things at the right time.
Green flag waves over Greg Biffle.
Boy, going off in his first turn with somebody down underneath of you just really, really is difficult to do.
Rudeman, Newman, and Busch battling. That is for 8th place. How about a NASCAR on Fox? Full moon Saturday night. Crank it up. At Darlington, you don't see that often.
Boy.
And not for very long.
My man Rudy Tootie is pinned up on the outside, but he's holding his own here against Kyle right now.
Racing for 8th place.
But yeah, when you did mention 3 wide, you did notice right away that one of those 3 wide was that 18 car of Kyle Busch.
Listen, you think we make a big deal out of 3 wide up here? You be out there on this racetrack and you say 3 wide, you'd say, oh no, not me.
And that's what Matt Kenseth said. He was the outside car, and he pedaled a bit. Let these 2 fellows go. Kenseth is now in 10th after starting on the pole. There's Matt just ahead of Logano. Here's Dale Jr. battling The 99 of Carl Edwards, 14th place at stake here.
They made the little car a little bit better, Steve.
They have DW. Junior had said that I'm really good in 3 and 4, but 1 and 2 is where I need help. On the last stop, they didn't make any adjustments to the 88, so that car has gotten better.
Tell you what, we're a third of the way through this race, and actually both these cars, the one we're riding with there, Dale Earnhardt Jr., the 88, looking out at Carl Edwards in the 99, both of them have made nice recoveries. Now this right here is a battle for the 11th spot between teammates Kevin Harvick in the 29, Jeff Burton in the 31, and Kenseth in the 17.
Now Jimmy Johnson got himself back up on the lead lap while Jeff Gordon fell off the lead lap. Gordon is now 1 lap down in 29th, Matt.
Mike trying to diagnose that vibration issue for the 24 Jeff Gordon. On the last stop, Steve Letarte and the guys took their time. They looked to make sure the spacers and the studs, nothing was amiss there. They didn't find anything that what could be causing their wheel vibration on that 24.
A lot of times here, you use a lot of brake. I noticed when these guys make pit stops, a lot of black brake dust is coming out of the wheels. You get the brake rotors warped up a little bit here from overusing them, get them hot, and you'll get a vibration.
Now the car he's racing right now is in front of Martin Truex Jr. The one car he's racing, Brian Vickers in that 83. Remember, Brian got one of his 2 laps back. Brian Vickers is the first car 1 lap down now. He would get the free pass should we get the caution.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Sprint. NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile. It'll change the way you experience the race.
Greg Biffle is walking the dog at Darlington. He's a big pet lover. He has a 5.8-second lead on Tony Stewart. You see that is a full straightaway on the Old Spice car coming at you with Casey Kane in 3rd. Jeff Gordon moving around. Stewart is not on the lead lap. Martin Truex 4th. Jamie McMurray 5th. Now here's our pole sitter Matt Kenseth, who is right now running kind of a solid, steady 15th place, Matt.
And Mike, it's been a work in progress for the pole sitter. Kenseth started out loose, then it went extremely tight, and that's where it's been most of the night. At one point, he said it's a lot like turning a combination lock. You never know when it's going to catch. And then a few moments ago, he keyed the mic and said, I thought it was almost impossible to make it any worse. And it is. It is much worse. It is just plowing. I cannot turn the car.
He's losing about 3/4 of a second a lap to leader Greg Biffle, his teammate right now.
But I tell you what, Larry, this track is fast. Greg Biffle last time by ran a 29.50. His fast lap for the night's only a 28.81. Yeah. So the track is definitely fast, and these guys have adjusted up for the conditions, and they're making good speed now.
At least Kenseth is not losing positions. He is not under any pressure from Dale Jr. or Kurt Busch, the 2 cars behind him. I mentioned Jimmy Johnson got himself back up on the lead lap, and he's now raced his way up into the top 20. His green flag pit stop at around lap 75 is the subject of tonight's State Farm Pit Road Spotlight.
Pit this time, Jimmy, pit this time. We're all around. Here we come, fellas. 10 away. Battery is there, Jimmy. Turn in. Be ready, be ready, be ready. Go, 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 go. All in, go, go, go.
Without the expert support of Chad Knaus and the 48 crew, Jimmy couldn't put in this kind of performance and get himself back up on the lead lap. It's just like the support you can expect from your local State Farm agent. Like a good neighbor, State Farm's there. New 2nd place car, Casey Kane.
But while we're talking about Jimmy Johnson, let's just look at the last 3 weeks. Talladega, Richmond, and certainly here yesterday qualifying. 3 really bad events in this team's life, but still, and tonight, you know, bad timing on a pit stop. But you watch these guys. This is what makes them champions, and this is why you never count them out. They're fighting back, and before the night's over with, I bet he'll be a contender.
Wow, Casey Kane was trying to lap past Max Pappas, and they made contact.
My.
You know, Darrell, you mentioned those back-to-back bad finishes by the 48 car back in 2007. They finished 39th in Chicago. The next week they finished 37th in Indy. and then they came back and just wore everybody out for the next 2 months.
It's like they're one of the few teams that seems like they can call timeout, reset, and start all over again and do something.
At any given part of the season.
And you never know when it's going to happen.
Martin Truex, Jamie McMurray racing for 4th place.
I tell you what, you're looking at 2 race cars. We've talked about it earlier. They need good runs, and they're getting good runs. Truex in the 1, McMurray in the 26, because their seasons, they've not had a lot of bright spots so far. We're approaching the 1/3 mark of the 2009 season.
Right behind McMurray and just out of the top 5. Mark Martin works his way ever closer to the front, chased by David Rudiman. Dick?
And the Veterans Radio is always interesting listening. And a few laps ago, Mark Martin said that his car was loose, but he told his crew not to worry about it, because very shortly the car is going to be very fast. And that's the kind of stuff experience buys for you.
Tell you what, a car that's really fast is that 00 of David Rudiman. I mean, he is running 7th. He's going around Mark, and you see what Mark does. Middle straightaway, ease out of the throttle, let the man make the pass, and then fall back in behind him. That's smart racing.
Y'all talked about him in the pre-race show. He was the guy after Richmond, didn't have a good finish, that fell out of that top 12. He knows he's got to be solid for the next few weeks if he wants to get back to the top 12. I like what you said. The guy he's racing right now, I think the guy that's going to get to the top 12, Mark Martin, at 5.
I think you're right.
Now here's Ryan Newman, who started 3rd, and Newman continues to run in the top 10. Both Stewart Haas cars. Tony in 3rd and Ryan in 8th in the top 10 right now. Haven't seen a whole lot of Kyle Busch tonight. Krista, why is that?
Well, Kyle's handling has not been where he wants it, but before this run, he said to his crew his car on a scale of 1 to 10 was 10 loose at the start of the run, but then it would get tight. He told Steve Addington, just make the car tight, and then I will hold them off.
Thanks, Krista. We met with Kyle earlier this afternoon, and he told us that Joey Logano, their 18-year-old rookie at Joe Gibbs Racing, coming along really nicely and really getting the feel of this car. Here is Logano in the top 10 after starting 5th.
We still got a long way to go. He had a great finish and a great run at Talladega a couple of weeks ago. If he can have good finishes at Talladega and here, I think the confidence will just continue to go up with that young man.
Well, now I think we're hitting the places where this 20 car really has always been they've had a good setup. Zippy and the boys have always had a good setup for the tracks that he's running good at. I think that's helping a lot too.
Logano, one of our Toyota top performers as we move toward halfway in this race. Just out of the top 10, 2 drivers that will bear watching tonight. Carl Edwards in 11th and Jeff Burton in 12th. Both the kind of long distance runners that you want to have at a place like Darlington.
Yeah, you know, right now we can talk about all the guys you want to, but until we get down with about 100 laps to go, that's when you find out who's got what. Some of these guys are just in survival mode right now. They're not really trying to show everything they got. They're just trying to stay out of trouble.
So Edwards and Burton both logging laps around 30-20, 30-50. Holding station in 11th and 12th place. Rest of the top 15, Keselowski, Harvick, and Boyer. Back up front to Greg Biffle, who continues to lap this track just above 30 seconds a lap and has an 8-second lead on Casey Kane. Let's go down to our Ford cutaway car. Jeff Hammond on Jeff Gordon's woes.
Well, Mike, the key thing is right now we talk about vibrations a lot with this new car, and Darrell and Larry were talking about what it might be, and Darrell mentioned the tailpipes. Here's where the tailpipes run underneath this car. It's bolted right to the bottom of this chassis, so anytime you get a vibration here, the driver can feel that. Also, the drive shaft. We never talk a lot about it because you can't really see it. Here it's located, but it's encased in a solid tube that is bolted to the race car, and a lot of times when the vibration comes from the drive shaft, well, it goes all the way through this tube again, right up into the driver, and he can feel that. Another thing at Darlington I've noticed tonight, some of the sparks underneath the car are coming from the tailpipes dragging the racetrack, as well as the truck arm. See how low they're mounted? The car gets down close to the racetrack, takes that bite. A
lot of times these things will hit the racetrack and upset the race car, Larry.
Hey, Jeff, here's the thing. If you think about our schedule here, all of the practice was in the heat of the day, and these cars are going to run faster in race trim tonight, and you'll bottom things out tonight that you wouldn't bottom out yesterday.
And you're exactly right. Coming outside, the air is definitely cooled off. The engines are running faster. The track's got a lot of grip. And these components, all of a sudden, you're driving them into the racetrack faster and harder than you have all weekend long, and it's starting to show up.
If you drag the tailpipes, I mean, I think a couple of years ago here when Greg Biffle just finally drug the flywheel off of his car because he kept bottoming out from going faster and faster. If these tailpipes hit the ground, hit the track, you'll sometimes drag a hole in them. That hole feels like you got some kind of terrible vibration in the race car. It's coming from the exhaust system.
Well, I'm going to tell you a guy that doesn't have anything right now but a fast race car. That's Greg Biffle in that 16 car. He just puts Elliott Sadler lap down. That leaves 24 cars on the lead lap.
However, Casey Kane is gaining 2 to 3 tenths of a second per lap on Biffle. Caution is out. Contact between Denny Hamlin and the 6. Here's Steve.
Martin Truex Jr. says the back end starting to slide around. They made a wedge adjustment on the 1, Krista.
Do you do when your car is perfect? You leave it. No adjustments, just 4 tires for Greg Biffle. Dick.
And Mark Martin started that last run in 7th position. He finished the run in 7th position. Car got a little bit tighter. They're loosening it, Matt.
Casey Kane's car running warm. Track bar adjustment already completed. They went the opposite way as the last stop because it didn't seem to help. He's away.
Tony Stewart, good run off pit road. Behind Greg Biffle, picks up a spot. David Reagan and Hamlin had a couple of run-ins about 10 laps ago, and then they came up upon Max Pappas, who was not up to speed. Max will be the 13, and we're going to show you this first in Fox 3D.
Yeah, well, Max Pappas is right here in front of these guys. He gets in trouble. He gets up into the wall, and this slows everybody down. It shows down to 17. There goes the 11 to the bottom, 42. And here comes the 6 with a big run. He timed it just right, and he's going to try to pass all these guys down the front. This is where some give and take. He gets in on the apron, can't keep the car down, slides up into 11 and spins him out. You can't get in there on that apron like that without, you need the whole racetrack because it's going to go up the hill.
Yeah, he was turning the wheel to the left, but the car was going up the hill to the right.
Here is David Reagan's onboard camera.
See how far down on the apron he was, and it's just hard to keep a car. That's why you preach all night long. You can't race in that corner side by side.
10 to 11. Sorry about that.
That was David Reagan. Now this was 10 laps earlier from David Reagan's onboard. A little bump from Hamlin. And they kept racing each other.
Yeah, I didn't see that as being a payback, or I didn't see that as anything other than just the 13 bottled them up and there wasn't enough room in turn 1 for all the cars.
Now Mark Martin, the 5 team, had a great pit stop, but they had to come back to pit road because they had a left front lug nut. So that's going to take him from outside the top 5 all the way back to about 22nd on this restart. So he'll have his work cut out for him.
Yeah, you can have really good pit stops if you don't get all the lug nuts tight.
They'll be quick, won't
they? They'll be fast.
1 to go at the line. No matter what happens, we'll put a windshield. 10-4, we'll get you that windshield. For 4 tires, fuel, no adjustments, we're going to get a windshield tear off. Everything's good, everything's good. 1 inside here coming up. Ready. Ready, green, green, green. Good job, guys.
And that's a Cheez-It bite of the race.
Yeah, one thing about it, that windshield tear-off guy was probably in the way of those guys trying to change the tires. Could have complicated matters a tad. He didn't do anything wrong. Don't misunderstand me. But him being there is another body over the wall that's in the way.
Time for another question from Ask.com, official search engine of NASCAR. You can get the answer now and enter the Ask.com NASCAR Challenge at the official search engine of NASCAR. Jeff?
Hey, guys, the one thing I want to tell you right quick as a jack man, when somebody gets in your way, I always told my students and myself, you've got to see it. You have to, as a jack man, you've got to know all those lug nuts are on there before you drop that jack. I don't care who gets in your way.
Yeah, well, that guy being there is right into jack man's line of sight, and that could keep him from knowing whether he got all those nuts on there or not.
Good point. We're going to go back to green with Greg Biffle, the leader, Tony Stewart second, Casey Kane, Martin Truex, Jamie McMurray. The fast five. Elliott Sadler got the free pass on that caution for Denny Hamlin. Green flag.
Yeah, that was bad news for Brian Vickers and Jeff Gordon. They had fast enough cars, but our leader just had started putting other cars a lap down, and it put them further back from being the first car one lap down.
Well, Paul Menard, man, he almost left from here. Wow. I don't know how he saved that thing, and I don't know how anybody kept him running over him, to tell you the truth.
Brian Vickers in the 83 went all the way against the inside wall down the back straightaway.
Thing got loose up off the corner over there, and I thought we had a big one.
That's Menard in bright green or yellow or chartreuse. Your pick.
Well, I think it's all the above.
Paul is one lap down. He just got lapped right before that caution came out.
And Larry, like so many times before we've been here recently, that 16 car, this is just his race to lose.
And boy, Ryan Newman on new tires, he's back to being the rocket again. He could really, he gained a couple of spots on that restart, Dick.
Yeah, he did, Mike, but they have had trouble adjusting this car all night long. During a longer run, the car will go from loose to tight to loose, depending on where on the racetrack Newman is at the moment, and they just have not been able to get it exactly where they want it. If they do, this thing has got basic speed. They've just got to get the chassis nailed exactly right.
And that's something they'll have to work on all night long, every single pit stop. It's about compromising with the two ends of this racetrack being different and the racetrack cooling down and changing.
Yeah, you got all these cars that got speed. It's who can get it hooked up to the racetrack. That's what makes the difference.
Well, Greg Biffle, he just ran again his fastest lap of this race.
That's a fast one too, 28.64.
Oh, Kyle Busch in there 3 wide. Turn 3, that all nicely sorted out. Tense moment for Jeff Burton up on the high side there for a moment. Top of your screen, Brad Keselowski. His last Cup start was that Talladega win. There's Brad on the number 25. And he's having a strong race, Steve. He's in 12th place.
He sure is, Mike. He told crew chief Lance McGrew right after the caution flew, I'm a little bit tight in 1 and 2. I've just been racing the racetrack. And by the way, I need a sandwich. I'm hungry.
You don't have time to eat a sandwich here, even under caution. But you mentioned the win at Talladega. Because of winning that race, he will be in that all-star race next Saturday night, back in the 09 car. And again, that race will air and be broadcast on Speed.
But, you know, he is pulling double duty. So maybe he just didn't get his, you know, he probably didn't get to eat a lot last night because he was working. Here he is working again tonight. He's doing the, you know, double duty thing, night shift.
You can have a sandwich in about 197 laps from now.
Yeah. Get you a ham and cheese sandwich, right, honey?
This is a wad of cars right here.
Yeah.
We're riding with Jimmy Johnson.
I'll tell you,
In and out.
he has been, that's happened to him twice now off of turn 4 down there.
And trying to be cautious there, he ended up giving up a spot to Juan Pablo Montoya, who drove around the outside of Jimmy in the 42.
I think Jimmy knows it. Probably ought not press my luck tonight, because I don't think I got any.
Darrell, it seems like this is the kind of track where if you're trying to be careful, that can get you in trouble in traffic.
There is nowhere to hide here. Let me tell you, you can't get out of people's way, because if you're not going very fast, you'll get run over from behind.
Another nice resurgence of a team that needed a big pickup after last week. Kevin Harvick in the number 29. Krista, he's in 11th.
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. Things are running pretty smoothly. Kevin's saying he doesn't need much. He's pretty good. But on that last run, his car was starting to get a little bit tighter. I joked with his new old crew chief, Gil Martin, back with Kevin Harvick. I said, hey, Clint Boyer was joking that you guys don't look as tough when you're not in black. He said, Clint wears a giant hamburger helper hand on his back. What is he talking about?
Harvick trying to take the Shell Pennzoil car of Richard Childress. into the top 10. To do that, he's got to get past 18-year-old rookie Joey Logano.
It's like when Gil Martin made that call on that early pit stop to do fuel only and really made up a lot of track position. It put them in a great position, and they've been staying in the top 10, the top 15 ever since then. We also need to mention his teammate Casey Mears back out on the racetrack after being involved in that early caution, 90 laps down.
Greg Biffle is the fastest car on the racetrack, but a long way to go here in Darlington, South Carolina.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing is sponsored by Cheez-It, the Big Cheese. By Napa Auto Parts. Napa, get the good stuff. By FedEx Racing. We understand every day is race day. And by Mountain Dew. This weekend, watch as Dale Jr. takes on the field, riding with the new look of Mountain Dew.
182 laps complete. Greg Biffle now leading Casey Kane, the new second-place car. Tony Stewart third. Riding with Dale Earnhardt Jr., who is in 21st position. One of 24 cars that are still on the lead lap. Maybe you could be our next NASCAR know-it-all. Log on to foxsports.com, keywords know-it-all, and answer our questions about the Coca-Cola 600 race that comes up in 2 weeks on Fox. And the winner will be announced during our coverage at Dover on May 31st. foxsports.com, keywords know-it-all. Crossed flags from the starter going to be displayed to Greg Biffle. The Biff has now led 60 laps, more than anyone else tonight, and we are halfway.
And let me tell you, from a physical standpoint of view and a mental standpoint of view, this is like running already a 500-mile race, because you have to stay so focused and you have to work so hard riding around this little narrow racetrack that it wears you out. Plus the changing conditions. Track's got more grip, speeds pick up.
Let's get an update on the second and third place cars, Casey Kane and Tony Stewart. Trouble turn 2. A car goes around and spins down the bottom of the apron. It is David Reagan. And that'll be caution number 7.
Leaders coming fired up. Come on around.
He's trying to get going.
I think he must have a tire down there.
So he'll get it going, trying to stay, but a lot of damage on that car.
Drove in the back of it.
It's like he got, but I think he got bottled up behind the 48 car.
Larry, it's a timing thing. He just timed it wrong. He had to get on the brakes right here to keep running into the 48, which he still bumped him. And here comes Montoya. Montoya was going to try to slip by underneath him. Couldn't do it.
A lot of damage to the back of David Reagan's car. This is from Jimmy Johnson.
See, he gets in there, bumps Jimmy a couple of times, and Montoya.
And pit road's open, Steve.
Martin Truex Jr. really frustrated with traffic, Mike. He says the car is good, but he's having a hard time getting around slower cars. Might see a little strategy here for the one car. Just 2 tires. Krista.
Greg Biffle wanted wedge, but they changed their mind. Why? Because it's just going to be a 2-tire stop. No adjustments, just 2 tires for Greg Biffle. Matt.
Tony Stewart hit pit road in the 3rd position. Stewart said the car just started to come in as the caution came out, but he lost way too much time at the beginning of the run. Significant track bar adjustment for the 14. Meanwhile, the 9 of Casey Kane, his car extremely tight. He felt like they needed to take a big swing at it, air pressure wise, to try to get this car dialed in.
Those 2 tires got Martin Truex jumps up 2 spots, and the free pass will go to Brian Vickers. He'll finally get himself back on the lead lap. Coming to the green at lap 189, we're just past halfway. A lot of gamblers that time took just 2 tires on the pit stop.
Yeah, we only had 19 laps on our tires, and just to name some, Greg Biffle, Joey Logano, Jimmy Johnson, Ruderman, Mark Martin, Elliott Sadler, Kyle Busch all took 2 tires. Ryan Newman will restart in 14th in the 39 car, one of the cars that took 4 tires.
Matt Kenseth gained 10 spots during that caution period with his stop. So our pole sitter restarts in 11th.
Just remember what I told you. These guys, some of these guys don't get in a real big hurry until they get a little past halfway. So it doesn't surprise me that Kenseth all of a sudden surfaces.
25 cars on the lead lap. Another 7 1 lap down. And only 6 cars in the garage.
We do have one correction. We get the note that Jimmy Johnson, the 48 team, Chad Canals, right now they're back in 19th position. They did go with 4 tires on that stop.
I think that was a safe thing to do there. And you know, like I said, those guys they've been trying to work themselves out of a hole all night.
Teammates not quite bump drafting. Harvick and Burton running right around 16th place. As you watch from Carl Edwards. Krista?
Well, Jeff Burton's car had really been tight all night long, taking 4 tires on that last stop, making a small track bar adjustment. Still tight, the 31 needing to turn just a little bit better.
Yeah, this car, everywhere we've been where we started in the daylight and went to the nighttime, it always seemed to get looser. But I just think this racetrack here, no matter what, old car, new car, it just seems to get tighter as it cools down.
Yeah, you try to carry so much. You got to think about this. Straightaways are 1,230 feet long, so you're making a lot of speed through these corners, and that's what makes these cars get tight, because you're running a big turn here. Hard to get the grip in the front.
Jimmy!
My, great save.
That's not lows, that's loose.
Well, he saved the 48 car, and he saved the 99 car there too, because he was headed to that 99 car of Carl Edwards.
Well, let's mention that David Reagan stayed on the lead lap, and so did Juan Paulo Montoya after that incident. Want to see that one again?
I do.
I think this will be from a little different angle too.
I don't know if he can do it again or not. Let's see if he can.
This is riding with it, 48 car.
Outside, nothing, clear. Whew. Save.
You know, Darrell, I'm watching that car behind him, Brian Vickers in the 83 car, who is now back on the lead lap. And I think we were talking during break. You had a great analogy of what his strategy should be with 172 laps to go.
Yeah, he got himself 2 laps back. Now you're all jacked up. You're all exuberant. Don't go out there and run over somebody now.
Because you got a fast race car.
You know you're fast. Work the traffic. Get yourself back up there.
Boy, Mark Martin was alongside Joey Logano, and they were battling for position for 6th place. But the car got loose on Mark, and he slipped back behind not only Logano but Jeff Gordon.
It's just so hard to get under people. Oh, got a trouble down here in the corner.
And it's
I think
Reagan.
it's a Reagan car. It was junk anyway. He was having a hard time keeping
Tire going down.
Caution is out.
And man, I'm surprised he
might as well
can drive that one back.
I've been watching him, Mike, and he was just having trouble keeping control of the car. Car got hurt pretty bad in that instant.
Right rear tire was down.
I think you watch what we're talking about here.
This was 1 lap ago. And there's the 6.
Yeah. Car was just a mess from that spin earlier.
And that could have cut down the tire that prompted that.
Boy, he got into the side of poor Marcos Ambrose in the 47. Max Pappas just barely slides by in that 13.
All right, we're 200 laps in, 167 to go, and Greg Biffle remains out front of Martin Truex. Jamie McMurray, the 3rd place car. Kyle Busch has fought his way up into the top 5, and David Rudiman in 5th.
A lot of names in that top 10 that we're not used to seeing in the top 10. Great runs for a lot of guys up there. And you see Joey Logano, the rookie, the 20 car up there in 6th position with 166 laps to go on this restart.
We've been seeing this a lot.
Yes.
We've been seeing this. Think about Talladega. I mean, sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
Yeah, Brad Keselowski in 8th, Clint Boyer in 9th, Elliott Sadler in 10th. And for a lot of those drivers, it's their first time in the top 5 or top 10 tonight. Marcus Ambrose goes to the garage as we are back under green.
I'll tell you who shot out of a cannon on the restart, and no big surprise, that yellow car going down to the bottom of the racetrack, hit it into turn 3. Kyle Busch. He can the king of restarts, man.
It's almost like a rerun of last week. Not that good at the beginning of the race, but by the time we got to the end of that Richmond race, he was up there leading.
Seems like they just keep improving that car as we go along.
Well, Krista, there's nobody who loves winning more than Kyle Busch, and probably nobody who hates losing more than Kyle Busch.
That is so true, Mike, and that is exactly what I talked to crew chief Steve Addington about. He said Richmond was a huge lesson for his driver because it showed him that the car doesn't have to be great at the start of the race. There's adjustability built into it, and he said finding that out last week in Richmond, knowing that the car can be better at the end, and that's what they need, is a huge lesson, a huge learning lesson for Kyle.
Thanks, Krista. Now, Casey Kane has led part of this race. He's trying to get back up toward the front from 12th place. There he's holding off Tony Stewart, Ryan Newman, and Jeff Burton. But watch Kane, the red car, into turn 1 a lap or so ago.
It came from checking up. You know, he had to jump on the brake to keep from getting in the back of David Stremme in the 12.
That's a great save. That's a sprint car driver save there. Yeah, you see what happened there. He bumps to 12.
Matt?
Mike, just like taking the high side at Eldora in tiny Rossburg, Ohio, for Casey Kane, combo platter of issues tonight. He knocked the grill in, the car was running hot. He's complained about it being loose, then about it being tight. As he's losing spots, he may have a tire going down on the 9. He's going to hit pit road.
Going down by line. Thank you for the code. You're good.
So Kane will fall off the lead lap with this green flag pit stop. Overheating, he says.
He had his hands full trying to get that thing on pit road. He just barely made the commitment cone. You can see the nose all busted up. That probably is the reason it's getting hot, obviously.
This is one of the toughest pit roads to get onto under green, and he almost didn't get inside that commitment cone.
Doesn't turn either, like it's really, really tight. All right, put 4 tires on it here. Put 4 tires on it.
Boy, have we got it. Have we got a gaggle? This is the gaggle.
Oh, Boyer holds him off. Keselowski in the middle, Menard on the high side, and Elliott Sadler could just look and shake his head in the 19.
That's just a game of chicken. Going down into turn 1 with people on the inside, outside, you're just playing chicken, baby.
149 laps to go. We're back under green.
Yeah, Kevin Harvick, the 29 car, up there in the 6th spot, just like they did earlier to get track position. Gil Martin went with fuel only on that 29 car.
So hard to race side by side around this place and not get into someone. It still reminds me of Bristol in a lot of ways. It's just one lane, one groove. You have a lot of chain reaction accidents, a lot like Bristol.
Now let's mention, just about 9 laps before that caution, we saw Casey Kane in the 9 car, a car that led a lot of this race, come to pit road because he had a flat tire, had damage. Right now he is back in the 31st position, 2 laps down.
Big knot of cars. They were 3 wide going into turn 3 as Greg Biffle tried to move up on the 2 Childress cars.
Well, Boyer, the 33, got sideways and just popped the wall hard off turn 4.
And I think all that started off at turn 2 with Biffle. He backed everybody up, and now they were just kind of in a wad right there. And they haven't unwadded yet. They may unravel. I don't know. Oh, and the wall back straight away big.
Boyer. And the outside wall.
I think he cut a tire down. He cut a tire down when he hit the wall.
All right, we tore it up pretty good, y'all.
Yeah, you tore it up real good. Don't think you'll be going back out anytime soon. That was hard lick, boys. I believe it was he and possibly.
Well, let's see.
He and someone.
This was just before coming off turn 4.
He's right behind Logano on the outside in that BB&T car.
Hard lick there. Then he comes off a 2 back here, and something happens to the car. Let's see. There he is. There he is. Oh, Allmendinger. Yeah, that's what happened. I thought it was
this becomes almost a 3-cushion shot. Safer barrier inside, concrete outside, back inside.
That was a hard lick, though.
He has climbed out of the car, and Clint Boyer is okay.
I think he's stunned just a tad.
That was 2 hard hits for Clint Boyer. We're under caution in Darlington for the 10th time. Green flag, and Martin Truex Jr. leads Kyle Busch, Jamie McMurray, Tony Stewart, and Elliott Sadler down to turn 1. These new names keep floating up to the top 5. Sadler is the latest one.
You know, I know Elliott Sadler in that 19. He wants to have a good run so bad here on Mother's Day weekend. His mom, Belle, was diagnosed with breast cancer a few years ago, and now she is in complete remission. And he talked about that a lot this week in interviews that he did in the print and with the television media.
Sadler, big supporter of the Susan G. Komen Foundation. That's our Fox Sports Supports charity this year. He finished 5th in Daytona, but has not had a top 15 finish since.
Other than the 2 restrictor plate racetracks.
Turn 4, guys. Rudeman and somebody.
Up in the wall is David Rudeman.
And it's causing a big bottleneck, just like we've seen before.
No caution.
We stay green.
Bobby Labonte behind him. Everybody scatters.
David, you got to get a caution.
No caution.
Sorry, Larry, I didn't mean to jump on you, but I thought there were going to be a big wreck right there.
I think it was about to get big here.
And look, here's why. You got 3 cars. You go down in this corner 3 wide. The 31 touched the 00 just enough to shoot him up the hill.
And I'm not so sure the 96 car maybe didn't get into the back of Rudeman just ever so slightly.
And the 2 got Jeff Gordon.
Just like bumper cars. I mean, once they start slowing down in front of you, you got nowhere to go.
You saw the left front fender of Bobby Labonte just barely catch that quarter pounder.
That's a shame, too. David was having a great run tonight. Been in the top 5, 10 all night long.
Boy, he needs a caution bad right now. We're seeing things bottoming out. He's got his hands full right now.
My brother's going to be glad to get out of Darlington, I can tell you.
Rudeman is 22nd, Dale Jr. 23rd. They will change spots. They're the last 2 cars on the lead lap. Clint Boyer has been released from the care center. He is okay after that crash.
My brother is not David Rudeman, by the way. My brother's Michael Waltrip, and he'll be glad to get out of here because his other car, the 47, has been in a couple of wrecks. Here's Rudeman wrecked, and of course Michael went up in flames. So bad night for MWR.
Back up front, Martin Truex, 0.7 of a second ahead of Kyle Busch. Things have stabilized there for just a bit. Sam Hornish right behind them is not on the lead lap. He is the first car 1 lap down.
You know, Mike, what I was going to say about Elliott Sadler and the 19 team, you mentioned that they finished 5th in the Daytona 500. We've had 10 races. Other than the 2 restrictor plate races at Daytona and Talladega, they have not even had a top 20 finish at a non-restrictor plate racetrack in 2009. So this has to do a lot for the confidence of that 19 team and Elliott Sadler.
Greg Biffle trying to work his way back to the front. First, he'll have to get past Brian Vickers, the 6th place car.
And I think that's been the 2 fastest cars on the racetrack tonight. Now, the question is, are they going to be fast at the right time, and are they going to be in the front at the right time? Because there's also some guys up here right now, Truex and Kyle Busch and a couple others that are running pretty quick lap times.
Daryl, I've been watching Brian Vickers, and I think he finally realized Greg Biffle's faster than me. Let him go by, and we won't lose a lot of ground. But Brian Vickers at both ends of the racetrack, I know you run high here, but he's been running as high as you can possibly run right against that wall.
Well, 6 laps ago, Larry, Martin Truex ran his fastest lap of the race, which is the fastest lap anybody has turned tonight, 28:39. 133 laps to go here in Darlington with Martin Truex Jr. out front.
127 laps to go. Glad you're with us. NASCAR on Fox from Darlington, and Martin Truex Jr. is your leader. No top 5 finishes for him in the last 24 races, but in that 1 car, he is #1 for the moment. Time for another question from Ask.com, the official search engine of NASCAR. How do hurricanes get their name? You get the answer now at Ask.com and enter the Ask.com NASCAR Challenge for a chance to win daily prizes and a trip to Talladega. Ask.com, the official search engine of NASCAR. Following Truex Jr., it's Kyle Busch and Jamie McMurray. But Jeff Hammond, let's look in at a couple of guys. Jimmy Johnson moving up to 12th, and he's had a few Rex in and around him tonight surviving.
Oh, he's been surviving all night long. Just a little while ago, we saw him getting spun around and trouble on pit road that he had. Everything keeps happening to these guys, but they keep battling back. This is what makes them such a great championship team, starting at the back of the pack, working their way up, finally leading. But the key thing is right now, he's in a dogfight just trying to get into that top 10 to get back close to the front. Remember, his crew chief told him, you got to pass these guys one at a time. We can get back to lead. We'll be doing fine.
Brad Keselowski right in front of him in a Hendrick engine, and then Mark Martin, of course, a teammate of Jimmy Johnson. But right behind Jimmy is Carl Edwards in the 99 car, who has not won a race
this
year.
He's going
and
fine,
here
Chris.
he goes, and he has not led tonight,
No.
but he's worked his way through the field rather nicely.
Again, he's another one of those guys who ran into the Darlington wall early, put a big stripe on that car. They had to work on it. You know, he and his crew really did a great job of getting the toe set back on it. Now you see him going around Jimmy Johnson, trying to track down Brad Keselowski now for 11.
All right, Jeff Gordon finished, top 3 in the last 5 Darlington races. Tough track for him. He always does well here. We know he has 7 wins. He was a lap down. He's worked his way back in.
Again, he's battling his way back, and this is what you have to do if you want to do good at Darlington. You got to be patient, but you've got to keep fighting. And right now, he finally got that break just a little while ago, back on about our 9th caution or something like that, and got his free pass, got him back on the lead lap. Now he's going around his teammate Jimmy Johnson, trying to make his way back up toward the front where he started on the outside pole.
And a Messi car already has the stripe tonight, and Greg Biffle has led the most laps, currently running fifth.
Chris, I guarantee you there are going to be very few cars. I think maybe Martin Truex Jr. is the only car I've seen out there so far that doesn't have a stripe on it.
The Hollywood Hotel doesn't have a stripe, not yet. Let's rejoin Darrell, Larry, and Mike.
Speed up, you get one.
No,
Chris?
you just get bruised down there.
That's right. Greg Biffle is 5th. He is 5 seconds off the lead, and Kyle Busch is now running equal lap times to Martin Truex. Truex had opened up a 2.5 lead and then got into some lap traffic, so Kyle is within sight, about 7/10 back of the race leader. Jamie McMurray 3 seconds behind the lead in 3rd. Tony Stewart and then Biffle. One car that's fallen off the lead lap is Jeff Burton. They had an extended pit stop when Burton had a problem with the left front shock absorber, and he fell off the lead lap in the Caterpillar number 31. And that pass of Denny Hamlin was for position 25th.
Yeah, just looking at the scoring monitor on any given lap, our top 5 or 6 cars almost run the same exact speed. Now that lap right there, definitely Truex Jr. and Kyle Busch were the fastest, but top 5 or 6 pretty equal right now.
And it just I don't know if it's this car or just racing in general this year, but if you can get your car in the front, you just drive off and leave everybody. We've seen it all night long. We've seen that with the 16. Now we see it with the Truex car. Just seems like you get out front, you just check out on everybody.
Riding with Hamlin, who's had a tough night. He got caught up in one of the accidents, the one that took Casey Mears behind the wall for a while and involved Allmendinger and Vickers. That was back at lap 32. And he is, I guess he's lucky to be just 1 lap down.
He really is. And just looking at his lap times, he is way off. He's about a second off from what the leaders are running. This has been a great racetrack for Denny. I don't think he's ever finished outside the top 10, but I'm not sure it's going to happen tonight. We got
a little trouble here.
We have debris on the racetrack. So caution is out the 11th time tonight. And let's go to Dick Berggren, who's going to talk about Elliott Sadler in 7th place here.
Well, he thought he'd run over something, Mike. So this caution has come at an opportune time for Elliott Sadler, who is having his best run this year outside of Daytona and Talladega, where he's had his best success.
The caution flag is a benefit to Sam Hornish. He's the free pass car.
Sam's running good too. I watched him. He stayed right there behind Kyle Busch the whole run there before that caution came out. And it looks to me like we found our debris right there.
A piece of sheet metal.
And with as many cars that has the side scraped up and everything, there's no way to find out where it came from.
I have no idea what car that fell off of.
You know, I think we'll see most everybody come to pit road and get 4 tires. This makes it now where it's a one-stop race after this stop.
All right, Steve Burns is in the pit of our leader, Martin Truex. Steve?
Mike, his update is the car's starting to get just a little bit snug off the corners, and the front tire's starting to feel just a little bit bouncy, so this caution coming at a good time. Last time they changed 2 tires, Mike. This time they're going to change 4 for Martin Truex Jr. Krista.
It had been 2 tires on the last 2 stops for both the 26 of Jamie McMurray and the 18 of Kyle Busch. You see the 26 they are taking 4 this time. Kyle was worried on this run. He said his car was getting a little bit loose. He thought he might have a tire bleeding. You see the crew going around to the left side. 4 tires for Kyle. Matt.
4 tires for owner-driver Tony Stewart on this stop, 2 on the previous one. Stewart said midway through this run, the best the car had been all night, but then it started to get free near the end. Track bar adjustment already completed. Stewart's away.
Greg Zipadelli and his crew got Joey Logano out 7 positions above where he came in.
Just looking at that right there, I think somebody's still rolling the dice and changing his 2 tires.
A lot of gamblers. 88 laps to go as rookie Joey Logano leads teammates Ryan Newman and Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon and Martin Truex Jr. the top 5.
And how about the baseball promo? Let's roll silver full. What do you say?
Track full? Let's do it.
Track
oh,
full.
no, that's me. It's not track full, but it's roll silver.
Roll silver.
Next week, David Wright in the first place in the NL East, New York Mets. Head to San Francisco to take on the Giants. The Indians battle the Rays. The Angels take on the Rangers in a showdown between bitter division rivals. It's Fox Saturday Baseball presented by Taco Bell. Next week, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific on Fox. Check local listings for the game and start time in your area.
DW, what have you been telling me for 9 years?
I know, but
stick to what you know.
But I'm just like you are. I'm a sucker. I get baited.
So
you listen to Artie Kipner in your ear.
I get baited every now and then.
So for the next 20 laps, you and I will sit in the truck, and that means that Artie and Barry will come up here with Larry.
No, you don't.
Oh, folks at home,
if
you only knew.
When I said fewer rookies still had ever won at Darlington, yes, that number is 0. However, full moon Saturday night.
You know what Roger Miller said?
Dang me?
No, first time for everything.
Okay. Oh, Jamie Mack's woes continue. Too fast exiting the pits. Tail end of the longest line. He was within a spot of there anyway, so.
Yeah.
Now, no matter what, we still have 1 more pit stop to make with 87 laps to go, 86 to go when we get to green.
A rookie runs out front as we take the green flag with 86 to go.
This top 10 right now is taking on an interesting look. Whoa!
Yeah. Boy, Ryan Newman had a lot of trouble clearing Jeff Burton.
Well, did you see Burton?
Yeah.
He was 90 degrees.
Now what this battle right in there you see, that's the battle to be the first car 1 lap down to possibly get back on the lead lap. I think we'll take a look at what just happened.
And 90 degrees might be all right in golf, but we ain't playing golf right now. Watch this thing. Yow. Good thing that Tony gave him a little recovery.
Car in the wall, turn 2.
Big time.
And it is Carl Edwards. No caution.
And he had worked his way up into the top 10. In fact, he was running 7.
He's in big trouble now.
You rode with him as he pounded it.
Okay, just hold it up there. Hold it up there. You got more coming.
And he cannot get to pit road.
Not going to get there this time. We stay green.
I mean, he's going to get run over from behind, for heaven's sake.
Edwards could not get to pit road. Now he loops around wrong way.
Coming your way, guys.
I don't think they're going to be real happy about that move.
Nice of my teammates to wreck me.
Well, I don't think he could have made it all the way around, Larry. But for that move, as you said, NASCAR not happy, and they're going to hold Carl 1 lap.
I think at this point, that's the least of Carl's problems.
It's Biffle that gets into Carl Edwards.
Ooh, the Biff. Yeah, Carl's car is a mess.
Yep. Now,
he's going to the garage.
Yeah, he couldn't get down to the inside because of all these cars, and he ends up pounding it again in turn 3.
And you know what? He couldn't get to the inside. And I mean, quite honestly, I thought there'd be a caution before this. But nonetheless, he gets past pit road entrance. His car is wrecked. He's just trying to get back to the garage. He don't want to string parts and pieces all the way around the racetrack. Wow. That's a hard lick, guys.
Yeah.
It's right off that safer barrier, too.
Well, let's ride all the way with Carl Edwards. You saw the second hit from the onboard.
Inside 16, inside. Clear right there.
That was off at turn 2. Then he comes down at turn 3 and really nails it again.
So we had a couple of Roush Fenway cars that were contenders tonight. They've taken a hard lick here just recently. Jamie McMurray in the 26. We talked about him now. Carl Edwards in the 99.
Larry, we're 83 laps to go. Remind us of how far we've got to get to make that last pit stop to be able to go all the way.
Well, I think if we get to lap 300, there'll be some teams that can make it from there. The fuel window's about 60 to 64 laps. It's a 367 lap race. No question, lap 300, I think, is the magic number to be able to get to the end.
So that's at least 15 laps from now as Casey Kane comes onto pit road along with Jamie McMurray. Let's get out of Chris Myers.
Mike, with Jeff Hammond, couldn't help but think back with Carl Edwards talking about his teammate Greg Biffle, Talladega last fall. A little bit of history between Greg Biffle and Carl Edwards.
Well, but the biggest difference right there, Chris, is the last time it was Greg who was kind of like looking at Carl because he was a little impatient at Talladega. Started the big one down there and pretty much took them all out of that. But, you know, right now you see the frustration that can be brought out here at Darlington. And again, it's just the closest of the racing. You see right now the 16 car of Greg Biffle running 7th, and you know, again, we've seen it all night long, guys knocking in each other. To me, watching this race and thinking about the last week and where we're going to, All-Star race, a lot of intensity, a lot of passion being shown in recent weeks as far as racing is concerned.
And this is a long, grueling night, and so for these guys to hang in there, and a rookie leading right now, I mean, as we pointed out, a rookie has never won at Darlington, and obviously the kind of track it is. Let's listen in on radio communication here on the 20 car.
Say, bud. I thought we were taking 4 there, but were we right with 2? You were right. That's why I told you. Same thing as the last time. I thought you were telling the picture that. Okay. Good to know for next time. You just said dig, 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 and I was like, all right.
Now that's what goes on with a rookie. A lot of times there's the veteran crew chief right there, Greg Zippatelli, trying to strategize and figure out how he can keep his young man up front. And right now, this is what we've been looking for as far as from Joey Logano all season long. We've been thinking this is what's going to happen. And you know, so far it's really looking good here at Darlington as far as this 20 car is concerned.
Best finish so far in a Cup race, 9th at Talladega. Jeff, your picks for the AT&T fastest pit crew, the 16 with Biffle, Martin Truex Jr. and Logano's crew. Don't forget to vote the AT&T fastest and most valuable from your AT&T phone. And the number to vote, 2258.
Yeah, right there you look at those crews and they've been making good calls all night long, been fast, been accurate, keeping their drivers in the hunt.
13 cautions within 2 of the record for this track in this race. Let's rejoin Darrell, Larry, and Mike.
Thanks, Chris. It'll be 80 laps to go in the Southern 500 presented by GoDaddy.com when they come around. And Joey Logano, 16 days shy of his 19th birthday. The youngest driver ever to win a Cup race, Kyle Busch, 20 years, 4 months, and 2 days at California in September '05.
Pretty impressive. Have a kind of run here tonight. Have to take my hat off to him.
Green flag, 80 laps to go. Ryan Newman breathing right down the neck of Joey Logano.
One thing that he doesn't seem that he hadn't been able to do is clear these lap cars
3 wide.
Some of these restarts, but there he gets a big break.
Boy, Ryan Newman, he didn't want to waste any time getting by those lap cars of Bobby Labonte and Jeff Burton. Now he'll go in front of Jeff Burton, who's 1 lap down.
And Burton dropped to the bottom on Bobby Labonte to move past him, putting himself in the free pass position where Labonte had been.
You know, Larry, the other thing I have to be impressed with so much, look at who's running 2nd and 3rd.
Stewart Haas Racing.
Those 2 cars have really, really, really come on in such a short period of time.
I mean, the story's in the top 5. We've talked about Joey Logano, the rookie. The 2nd and 3rd place car, Stewart Haas. Jeff Gordon in 4th, who was on pit road under green with a loose left front tire. And Martin Truex Jr., who has led this lap, has not won a race in almost 2 years, sitting there in 5th right now.
Log jam right here. Now Labonte's a lap down. Trouble front straightaway. Hornish goes for a wild spin.
If he doesn't get hit, he's going to be all right.
Right there. Get it going.
No caution.
What?
No.
All right, get it going there.
We stay green. Wow. And Biffle stays side by side with Truex. as they fight it out for 5th place.
I'm sure there is a lot of people, mainly a lot of race car drivers, is amazed that we didn't get a caution that time.
That was unbelievable.
Got to see that one again. Hornish on the outside of Mark Martin.
I mean, he just came down. Mark kept trying to go lower and lower and lower, but I mean, he spun half the distance of the front straightaway, spun around 3 or 4 times, and never touched a thing.
Hornish on pit road. Here's Mark Martin's view of it.
48. Speed outside.
Yep.
You're clear. Got the 2 coming. Still green. Still good. Still good.
Well, I'd say he's on pit road for 2 or 3 things. 4 new tires, put the roof flat back down, and a new set of drawers.
Yeah. I reckon it'd be only in Alabama they call them drawers, right? That's what I was thinking.
Hornish has new tires, and he's going back out on track.
I doubt seriously in Defiance, Ohio, they call them drawers.
I don't think so either.
Whatever you call him, he didn't have time to change them, all right? Logano half a second ahead of Ryan Newman, holding his own and holding the lead.
Don't you love to watch these cars come off of turn 2 over there, though? It's a square turn. You just drive straight at the wall, and then at the last second, you turn. Look at that. It goes straight and then just turns.
It's like turn 2A and 2B.
Exactly. Or 2 not to be.
You can tell it's getting late in the race.
I'm not drinking any more Mountain Dew. I'm done.
You know, we saw Greg Zipadelli a bit ago. Joey Logano is only the 2nd Sprint Cup driver Zipadelli has been crew chief for. He was with Tony Stewart from Stewart's rookie year right up to the end of his tenure with Joe Gibbs in November of last fall. So Logano only the 2nd driver Zippy's ever had in Cup. And Tony's best finish here in the number 20, 4th twice in 16 races. And here is Logano in a position to maybe win this thing.
Well, he's got to be.
Turn 4.
Uh-oh, trouble.
It's Biffle.
Oh, no, Biff.
And we will see a caution now.
Get it going if you can.
And Larry, we're 5 laps outside that lap 300 window you talked about.
I think it's close enough that you want to get fuel in that car.
I got a flat.
That is caution number 14 for Greg Biffle, 1 shy of the record.
Let's see what happens here. Oh, man, we've seen that so many times tonight. There must be a real slick spot right there off of turn 4. We've seen a number of cars just lose it off that corner.
We'll see several cars just barely squeak by. Heck, Kevin Harvick in that 29.
I know back in the old days before they repaved it, every now and then you get up there and hit where they hadn't mowed the grass and spin out.
Give an attaboy to Jeff Burton. He's worked hard after that shock problem to get in position for the free pass, and he's earned one.
And Mike,
to lose. I almost wrecked off of 2, and then it just spun out down here.
And Mike, I know as a crew chief, you can't base all of your calls off of trends or patterns, but let's go back to the beginning of the show, the FedEx Understanding the Race. The last caution since we have been running a 500-mile race here in the spring is somewhere around the last caution around average lap 317. We normally don't have late race cautions here as far as the trends or the patterns, but we'll just have to see what happens
I think as fast as these cars are, Larry, and as tough as, I mean, and the way everybody's racing each other tonight, nobody's cutting anybody any slack tonight.
No. Now, you talked about a bad night for Michael Waltrip Racing. How about Jack Roush and Roush Fenway Racing? A couple of those in the garage, but pit road is open, and Vickers almost got turned by Elliott Sadler. Steve. Krista.
Joey Logano and Greg Zipadelli making a final call. They were going to stay out for track position. Zippy said, come in, we need 2 tires. They're not in their fuel window, but they're going to try to pack it full as much as they can. Right sides only for the 20, young rookie Joey Logano. Dick.
And Newman has run toward the front all night long. This stop, they have decided to take just 2 tires.
Matt and Jeff Gooch Patterson has just topped off the 14 of Tony Stewart. Close call with a 9 of Casey Kane. Darian Grubb had factored in the fuel mileage, which they were getting great mileage from the middle portion on, but still realized they needed a number of caution laps to make it, so they topped her off.
And, oh, by the way, back on pit road.
Yeah, it's all over the place.
Somebody's even getting service backwards.
Wouldn't it a little while, isn't there a full moon tonight?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I think there's something weird going on because of wrecking on pit road or wrecking on the racetrack.
Field is in the back straightaway. Light is off atop the pace car. There's the front 5. 24 cars on the lead lap. Tony Stewart in 7th place, or 8th place, is the first car with new tires. So, have we seen the last caution flag of the night? Will this restart be the run to the checkered flag? We're about to find out.
Now, what's been interesting is we got a report that actually Mark Martin in the 5, Jimmy Johnson in the 48, when they could, under these caution laps, they've actually been shutting their engine off, trying to save more fuel to get to the end.
Hypermiling.
There you go.
Yeah.
Engine off, no burn, no fuel.
Ready to restart. Green flag. Mark Martin brings them down. 42 laps to go.
I think that Ryan Newman's going to be in a hurry, guys, because we've seen that car lead this race.
And he's been getting very good restarts.
He has, and he just puts a move here on well, maybe not.
Kurt Busch may have caught the wall coming off turn 2. He's a little slow in the backstretch. He did get the wall.
But while those two guys were battling right there, the 48 and the 39, look at the lead already that Mark Martin has put on them in that 5 car. Cars are getting smaller and smaller back there, which is a beautiful thing when you're leading this race.
And when you put a guy like Mark Martin out front,
hit your marks, bud. Just hit your marks.
That's what he does best. He's flawless once he gets the lead.
In case you missed our pre-race show, Mark Martin made the announcement this week that he would be back full-time in 2010 driving for Hendrick Motorsports in this 5 car.
Obviously, he don't need no rocking chair. He just needs a big old bucket seat.
5th place battle. Tony Stewart, Denny Hamlin, Elliott Sadler. 5th, 6th, 7th. Jeff Gordon behind and closing. Here comes Truex inside of Dale Jr.
Oh, we got another car up in the wall. Yikes. I think it was 83.
No, it's Junior.
Oh, it's Junior.
In there, keep taking, just stay high. I'll just clear down here.
Cosmetic damage. Truex keeps coming. He's under Sadler, makes the pass.
83 got in the wall too up here in 3 and 4, and he's got trouble. He's falling back. Got a tire down, I believe. Saw sparks come out from under it.
Guys, right behind that group there. In fact, he's no longer behind them. How about Greg Biffle in that 16 car? Remember, it was not that many laps ago that he was against the inside wall here on the front stretch, and now he's back in the top 10 with this 16 car.
Jimmy Johnson in 2nd. Brad Keselowski in 4th. Both just ran their fastest laps of this race.
And what was it we said about McMurray? That he was out of it tonight.
Hard luck story.
Yeah, and look at him.
Back up on the lead lap.
Back up in the top dozen.
This race car, I think back every week. Every week somebody in one of these race cars wrecks it bad enough that it should be out of the race, and they come back and get top 10 finishes.
Like McMurray last week at Richmond.
Yeah, or even Ambrose last week.
Ambrose and Jeff Burton. But Biffle is on the move. He knows the clock is ticking with 37 laps to go.
And Tony Stewart passed Keselowski for 4th.
Well, I think we're going to have a battle for the lead here pretty quickly, guys. That 48 car has done his magic once again. I'd like to go down there and find Chad Knaus's magic wand, because he waves one over this 48 car time and time again and finds it in this position.
All of these top 7 cars are running between 28.75 and 28.90. They are very evenly matched right now.
And you know, honestly, when you look at the top 6 cars right now, they are Hendrick cars or Hendrick affiliated. You've got Mark Martin, Jimmy Johnson, Brad Keselowski, Jeff Gordon all in the top 6, and then Tony Stewart and Ryan Newman that have that affiliation as well.
I'd say that the sharing of notes and technology pays off pretty well.
Sure looks like it.
Here's Jimmy Johnson in second place, about to challenge Mark Martin for the lead. This is a backup car that did not turn a wheel on the racetrack until the pace lap tonight. After Jimmy crashed in qualifying.
Started dead last. Started at the back of the field.
There's his qualifying lap. Hard into the wall. Everything tethered and held to the race car. But that car's junk.
And he is there, guys. He is bearing down on the back of his teammate, Mark Martin, right now. He's looking at him. He's trying to set him up to figure out where can I make the pass.
In a no-lap backup car.
And you know what? There was a lot of frustration. I talked to Chad Canals last night. I said, the car you've unloaded, where did you race it last? He said, you know what? I have no idea. They were that frustrated over that qualifying race.
But one thing I know about Darlington, when you bring a backup car here, you know it's a good one.
Sorry, Darrell. I think that's Vickers in the wall again.
He hit the wall hard in 3 and 4, and he's had a tire, I think, going down slowly.
No caution yet. There it is. Caution will wait.
Caution's out. Caution's out.
So we do get another caution. I believe he and Jamie McMurray got together after something broke there.
Yep. Done.
Now you'll see him come in from the right side of the screen when we show you this replay. That puts us under record caution flag number 16.
Oh, you see Vickers, I think something happened to his car, and he went up the hill and got into McMurray.
Nowhere for Jamie to go at 26.
No.
I've been seeing smoke and fire coming out of that car, and I think he had a tire going down slowly.
Dale Jr. comes to pit road as we're ready for the restart. 21 laps to go. Same running order. Mark Martin, Jimmy Johnson, Tony Stewart, Ryan Newman, Jeff Gordon, the top 5. 24 lead lap cars. The free pass to Casey Kane. That is Mark Martin making the shift. 3rd, 4th, and trying to get away from Jimmy Johnson.
Grabbed 4th gear just before he got down to turn 1. That 48 car got a good run off turn 2 that time. But like Darrell pointed out, here's where he's been almost overdriving his race car. Car goes up the hill.
You're good.
The 48 car is just overdriving. He's driving in really hard, but he's not able to get Mark's accelerating off the corner, and that's where Mark's beating him.
20 to go.
Now here this time he might have something for him. He got a run. He's even with him off of 2. He might have something for him getting into 3 this time.
Mark's right in the middle of the racetrack, though. Gives him the bottom.
If he ever gets a nose up under there.
He's there, Darrell.
You're clear.
It's going to be hard to pass, Mark.
Hit the marks, buddy.
It's hard to pass on the low side through turn 4. The car just binds up down there.
Yeah, you got to turn the wheel so much you just lose a lot of speed.
Now they have distanced Tony Stewart by half a second.
2 by, nice and smooth.
It's just amazing to me to sit here and watch how Mark is just easing in the corner, but how he is shooting off the corner. I mean, just what he loses getting in, he gains twice that getting off.
But you're right, Mike. He's running about a half a lane to a full lane lower through turn 4 than Jimmy.
Pretty fast lap times, too. 28.78, 28.86 right there. Mark's going to distance him, I believe. It just that overdriving the car, it just used up the tires quicker than Mark will.
But Jimmy's last lap was his fastest lap of the race. And yet, he cannot get by his Hendrick teammate.
And Mark's actually starting to put a little bit of distance on him. 17 to go.
Good job. You're pulling him. Nice and smooth. Hit the mark.
No change in the top 10. In fact, everything pretty much single file. Greg Biffle has been wearing out Joey Logano for 8th place, and Logano's having none of it.
Yeah. I think he might be looking under him this time. And, of course, like I say, getting under somebody down here is not always doesn't necessarily mean you're going to pass, but Joey gave it to him that time.
Yeah, Greg really beat him off of turn 2, and then you don't complete the pass to the next set of corners here.
Krista?
Something they talked to Joey Logano about before that restart was how he is working the corner. Joey was saying that his car was getting a little bit loose in and he couldn't turn. They reminded him how he was working the corners before. had to remind him a little bit about that in these last 20 laps.
Well, this car, this COT car, does not like to be overdriven. I think the guys that have had the most success with it are the guys that understand that and understand backing the corner up like we're seeing Mark Martin doing.
Now Jeff Gordon has caught Ryan Newman for fourth, got right up to his rear bumper, no closer.
Mike, just a few laps ago, you talked about Jimmy Johnson running his fastest lap. Mark Martin, about a lap ago, ran his fastest lap of this race. He knows the clock is about out.
Smoker off turn 4.
That's Dale Earnhardt Jr. 88 car. He was just back on pit road about a lap before this.
No caution.
Big time smoke coming out of his car. I'm not sure where that's coming from.
14 to go. Oh yeah. Left front tire rub.
Got a tire rub, yep.
Just trying to make it to the finish.
And I tell you what that did. That smoke slowed Mark Martin down just a little bit. He saw the smoke. I don't think he knew where it was coming from. And here comes Jimmy Johnson one more time. Mark's got that bottom off of turn 4 there down to perfection. But I tell you, you don't ever count Jimmy Johnson out when he's this close to the lead.
Nope, it's like he maybe cools his tires down just a little bit, makes another run. 13 to go.
David Stremme smoking a bit into one. That's another tire rub. His teammate Kurt Busch goes by him for 16th.
I really think what happened that last time by, though, Mark saw that smoke off the 88 car, and he checked up just a little bit to be sure there wasn't any oil or anything.
Now he's pulling back away just a little bit from Jimmy Johnson. 12 to go. There's the two crew chiefs, Alan Gustafson, crew chief for Mark Martin, Chad Knaus. He's got a Jimmy Johnson to 3 championships.
Chad Knaus has got to be sitting there thinking, I don't care what happens from here on in. I've had a nice night, considering all things considered.
How about our leader, Dick?
Well, about 5 laps ago, Mark Martin was told he was good to go, and then about 2 laps ago, he was told, take it easy on the throttle. There is no certainty that Mark Martin has enough gas to win this race. And I think part of the reason, the lap times are running. They're using more fuel.
Oh, yeah, he can't soft pedal it now.
All right, Stremme's brought his car to pit road, and Jeff Gordon again goes after Ryan Newman. This is for 4th. With Truex looking in.
He's lurking back there in that 1 car.
Don't count Keselowski out either. He's right there as well, right behind the 1 car. There's still some serious racing going on right here at the end of this race.
The neat thing about this race is there's a dozen drivers who've driven a really great race tonight. Only one's going to go to victory lane.
Well, I think the Mark Martin it's just a 500-mile race in a Southern 500. They just go together.
He's going to catch David Rudiman, I believe, but Rudiman moved up to the high side, which actually worked for Mark. Maybe held Jimmy Johnson up just for a second.
Yeah, Rudiman was in. Rudiman was in Johnson's lane that time.
Greg Biffle led the most laps. He's fought his way back.
We don't have anything for him.
Way back to 6th.
Just start rolling back just a little bit then.
Jimmy just
make sure we finish this thing 9 laps ago.
Jimmy just told him we don't have anything for him. Roll out of it a little bit.
Yeah, Chad Knaus told him we want to finish this thing.
That's good news for Mark, because now he can back off a little bit.
And Jimmy still has 2 seconds on Tony Stewart in 3rd. And even so, at 3rd place, Stewart would get his best ever finish at Darlington.
And you know what these 2 cars are trying to do? They're trying to go 70 laps on a tank of fuel, but I just feel like with the number of cautions that we've had, that they're both should be in good shape and be able to make it.
I think if you base your calculations on earlier in the race, Larry, like you said, lap times are much quicker right now than they were 100 laps ago.
And remember, we've got 2 other cars in the top 10 that are in the same boat. One of them is right there, Ryan Newman in that 39 car. He has not pitted since 297. Brad Keselowski is the other one.
But the 4 drivers who have led the most laps tonight are not going to figure in this one. Greg Biffle, Martin Truex, Ryan Newman, Casey Kane. Mark Martin has led 39 laps.
Well, we know teammates monitor teammates, and it was just relayed to me that they relayed to Mark Martin what Jimmy Johnson just told Chad Knaus, that I don't have anything for him, and they're going to start conserving fuel a little bit because he has a little bit of a cushion over Tony Stewart, who's back in 3rd.
And you can see that Mark has stretched it out considerably over Jimmy now, but I do believe that it's going to be a nail biter here as far as fuel goes on Mark's car.
Martin, Johnson, and Newman. Last pitted at lap 297.
5 more big lead. Just take care of it. Nice and easy on that gas. 48 on you, 80 on him.
Tony Stewart has plenty of fuel. He came to pit road 24 laps later.
I tell you what, though, looking at the lap times, Mark has not slowed down a lot.
No, Stewart is matching Mark Martin, but not closing.
And you know, if the 5 car can close the deal here tonight with 4 laps to go, if you just remember, after race number 4, they were almost outside the top 35 in points. If they can pull this off tonight, they will actually move into the top 12, just like Darrell Walter predicted in the pre-race.
Yeah, we felt like at the 33, I thought the 33 was having more trouble and looked like he was the guy that might come out. There was room for one guy to get in, and that was Mark Martin.
He would jump 4 positions into that all-important top 12. 3 to go this time.
3 more. He's way back there.
And I tell you, Rick Hendrick.
3 on you, 71 on him.
Rick Hendrick has been at home the last couple of weeks. He hadn't been feeling well. Rick, this ought to make you feel a lot better, buddy. Your little man's bringing it home for you one more time.
And he has 4 cars in the top 7. Jeff Gordon's in 5th. Brad Keselowski, we've been talking about, is in 7th.
That's a great run for Keselowski, too. I'm telling you, for a rookie here, young guy.
Great run for him and for Logano, the 2 rookies, 7th and 9th.
No pressure.
Great turnaround for Kevin Harvick. He's going to get a top 10 tonight.
Mark Martin.
That is if he can hold off Matt Kenseth.
I was going to say, he's got his hands full of that 17 car right now, Kevin Harvick, the 29.
50 years old and having the time of his life. Is that not American dream?
Mark Martin won the 1993 Southern 500. He has 25 top 10s here. This is his 43rd Darlington race, and he's on the money lap.
1 to go.
Has a pretty clean racetrack in front of him. There's 1 car out there about 4 or 5 car lengths. He's halfway down the back straightaway now.
What a great night for him and his team. He can almost coast home from here.
Man, I think we're going to make it.
I think
the old man, Mark Martin. 2nd win of the season, 2nd win at Darlington. Mark Martin wins at Darlington.
That's big. That's big, boys.
Tall guys. You did it, man. You did it, Alan. Great job, man.
That is awesome.
Nice job, boy. That whole team. What a deal.
Mark's 37th Sprint Cup win.
That's what I'm talking about.
Comes in his 733rd start.
Mark Martin wins in Darlington. The old man on the moon, the big cheese, as he wins the first multiple win season for him since 1999. As we welcome you to the Lipitor post-race show. Fireworks for Mark Martin, who just announced this week that he would run full-time in the Cup Series next year. Having a pretty good year here, moving into chase contention for the first time this season. Let's head down to Victory Lane and Steve Burns.
Well, thank you, Chris. Mark, before the season started, you said you had rediscovered your passion, your fire to win on a weekly basis, your 2nd win of 2009. How does it feel?
Oh, man, it feels great. I want to thank the fans and Cheez-It, CarQuest, Chevrolet for all their support. And, of course, Sprint, Alan Gustafson, and this race team, the boss. Hey, Rick, thank you, man. I'm loving it, man. That was so incredible, man. Once we got out front, man, it was just easy. Car was awesome.
How close were you at the end on gas, Mark?
We never sucked any air, so I guess we had enough. I don't know. We worked pretty hard to save some gas, but I don't know how close it was. My history, I always run out. So that's pretty neat to be able to make it. I don't know how much we had, but we tried to save what we could. But out front, I was really gassing it up a lot, too, whenever the 48 would get up on me. So I knew I could be burning more than we'd seem to. So just a great day, and I just want to thank everybody for, just for letting me do this. This is a great race team.
Congratulations, Mark Martin.
Thank you. Thank the fans.
Boy, Hendrick dominating tonight. Coming up, late local news, Mad TV. Check local listings following us. Major League Baseball on Saturday, presented by Taco Bell. Mets and Giants, Indians and Rays. Also the Angels and Rangers. That's at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. And the Coca-Cola 600, that's a week, 2 weeks from Sunday, 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific. Next Saturday on Speed is the All-Star Race. And officially, it is Mother's Day on the East Coast. I know your mom watches all the time. You want to wish her Happy Mother's Day?
Yes, I do. Happy Mother's Day, Nancy. I will be home. We'll have a great time tomorrow afternoon.
And to all the moms out there and those that play that role, we appreciate what you do. Enjoy your day. For Daryl, Mike, and Larry, for Krista, Steve, Dick, and Matt, for our entire production crew, Jeff Abbott, I'm Chris Myers from the Hollywood Hotel. You have a great Sunday and a good week. We'll see you at the Coke 600. Thanks for watching NASCAR on Fox.